I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
So he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber! Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got drunk, man. Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube podcast from obviously iTunes, Spotify, radio, etc. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Sorry for the late start. My bad. Not Gary's or Rob's this time. My bad. Shots at me. Sorry, guys. But anyways, we're going to be talking all things boxing. Canelo Kovalev, maybe the best comeback of the year and for a long time. We're going to get into that conversation and debate. And plus, obviously, just talk about the fight, the X's and O's, and where Canelo goes next. Plus, all the other fight cards that happened this weekend was quite a lot. We had Brian Castano versus Wally Armatos on FS1, Miguel Berchelt versus Jason Sosa on ESPN. And obviously, earlier in the day, we had Katie Taylor going for her second division title or championship. Was at 140, right? Is that 140? And defeating Christina Lenar too. And it was really a fun fight. And obviously, we're going to talk about all that and the news of the day. But like I said, joined as usual by Rob and Gary. Rob, UK Rob, second cousin, twice removed of Sir Eddie. How you doing, man? How was the family's event yesterday?
The what?
The family's event. You know, you had a matchroom event.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. No, with this whole DAZN delay, I'm all fucked up. I don't know where I am right now. You Americans all right? I've seen a lot of people, going past 1 a.m. seems to be an issue. Maybe you want to reach out to the UK fans, see how we enjoy those US cards. But it was good. Good weekend of boxing. Lots of Twitter talk this Sunday and late last night. When I was waking up, I was seeing a lot of complaints and whinging and moaning and diving and all that kind of shit. But we'll get into it. But yeah, smash that thumbs up, everybody. Share the show, usual stuff. Gary made a recovery. He wasn't very well yesterday. He spent most of it in bed, but he's here.
And surprisingly, all of a sudden better, spry.
Yeah, no sugar, man. No sugar diet.
That keto diet. Anyways, Gary in Dallas. What's up, Gary? How you doing? Did you enjoy the fights? I haven't really talked to you about the fights at all, really.
Yeah. I mean, first off, I have some thoughts on obviously Canelo. The Castano fight, I want to get into that. I thought he looked really, really impressive.
Yeah, he did.
I think he's ready to make moves at 154, and I'm feeling a lot better. It's the keto diet, no sugar. You don't stay sick. Viruses live in sugar. Keep that in mind. That's your health tip of the day.
Thank you for the health tip of the day, Gary. But let's get into the marquee fight and the event of the weekend for boxing. Obviously, Canelo Alvarez moving up 2 weight divisions and defeating Sergey Kovalev in my opinion, dramatic comeback fashion. I had Canelo down significantly on my scorecards. I really value the jab and activity of Kovalev throughout the fight, and I thought he was winning rounds. While Canelo was clearly the heavier hitter, clearly the faster puncher, he just wasn't doing enough throughout the fight. And then in the 11th round, we have the KO from Hades off that right hand to start off in the clinch, I want to say. Then the left hook off the temple and the right hand down the pipe to finish it. It was a beautiful combination from Canelo. And again, to me, in my opinion, a comeback worthy like title. That's one of those, in my opinion, that's along the lines of Chavez, Meldrick Taylor. Like, I am putting it on that pedestal, especially in connection with obviously the demographic connection of both Mexican boxers and sort of the conversation here. Guys, thoughts on just the KO, the nature of the fight leading up to that KO? Did you see it as a comeback performance from Canelo? Did you have it far closer than I did? Thoughts on this fight, Rob?
I definitely had it closer. I felt while Kovalev was doing all right, there didn't seem to be any snap in there. It was all a lot of, I don't know, pity pat. A lot of it. I mean, let's face it, Canelo's gloves were really marked up by the end of the fight, right? I don't necessarily see that Canelo was wide down on the cards myself, but it doesn't matter. He knocked him out as predicted by yours truly. Now, I can't remember if I said inside 9 or inside the last 9 minutes.
No.
You said inside 9 because I said that means it would have to be 8 if it went the distance. Because we had that ridiculous conversation.
Yes.
I was just trying to brag it, but let's be honest, it doesn't matter, Gary, because you picked Kovalev. So,
but you know what? Hey, we might get into it, but besides those scorecards being obviously, in my opinion, wrong, for a lot of us, it felt like Gary was about to be right. He was a round and a half, from my scorecard at least, from being right. And while you thought it was pity pat shots, I will say this: I don't care about that, like that narrative, unless, let's say, Canelo, and I think it was like round 5, I want to say, was a good example of this, where his activity was increased. So because, let's say, he, in my opinion, wasn't landing as much punches as Kovalev, the discrepancy between the two in terms of volume was far closer, and then Canelo was throwing at a higher power rate and doing more damage. Therefore, I give Canelo the edge. I think, again, the 5th round, I want to say, was that round, right? That was the clear Canelo round, I want to say. And the rest of the time, though, I want to say it was Canelo hunting down Kovalev, but not unloading shots. And when he did, it was a single shot. And those single shots may be connected. Meanwhile, Kovalev was throwing 3s and 4s in terms of just pure jabs, going to the body with the right hand, bringing the right hand up top, and then, sort of from round, I would say, 4 to 8, 9, he was even sneaking in a good uppercut here and there. Like, Kovalev was doing really good work here that, while it was maybe not as powerful as Canelo, obviously, I think was still good work. In the same vein of even the Triple G second fight with Canelo. Like, there was parallels between these two fights in a lot of ways. In terms of how they looked?
I personally think Triple G done better in this comparison, but I think Kovalev... No, he did.
I'll say this. Canelo did a lot better in the Triple G fight than he did in this fight. Minus the KO, obviously. Like, Canelo's activity to the body, his combination work in the second Triple G fight is in stark contrast to his lack of activity in this fight.
No, I just mean as far as I thought. For me, I thought Triple G jabbed Canelo's head off a lot of that fight, and in this, I don't think Kovalev did jab Canelo's head off a lot in this fight. I thought there was a lot landing on the gloves, on the forearms, personally, but it doesn't matter because, like I say, he got the knockout, and for me, it was a methodical, slow breaking down and taking Kovalev deep into the fight, which I think must have been the game plan, and it just paid off. And it was I think a great performance. It wasn't the most electrifying fight, but the knockout just makes. I mean, your reaction with Anthony last night was like, oh shit, the holy shit, like where, it just didn't seem like that was actually coming at one point. But I just feel like when you look back at the whole fight, there was a methodical breaking down of Kovalev, and I think even Kovalev said he was done after 7 rounds in this post fight, and they also asked him about why he didn't throw that the right hand more and things along those lines, and he said, well, I was getting instructions from my corner to keep behind my jab and things like that. They obviously maybe felt his jab was doing the job, but
I thought it was.
For me,
And I will add, he was throwing the right hand, maybe not with power, but he was throwing it.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. The crusher got crushed. What can I say?
He did, and surprisingly, it wasn't with body shots. I mean, that was the idea, right? That Canelo would get close and work the body, and he kind of never really did. To be honest, he did at times, but not.
Yeah,
that wasn't
one
any consistency.
Like almost a pull counter. He slipped the shot and then threw in it right in the breadbasket. That looked, and I guess with the fears of Kovalev being soft to the body, it didn't maybe people were expecting a full-on body assault, but sinking in a few, 1, 2 per round or whatever was enough to soften him up. But Kovalev admitted that I think it was he said round 7 he was kind of done, and Canelo goes on. What's next? Who knows? But if you want to ask Gary how he felt the fight, but before we go into what's next or whatever,
Gary, obviously thoughts on the fight.
Oh, wow. First, I want to preface this with Canelo is something special. I mean, there's greatness there, like all time next level greatness. Like we talk about, guys. Triple G is a great fighter, but there's no next level. There's no you're gonna tell your kids about Triple G. You're gonna tell your kids about Canelo. I mean, he's a guy that fights everyone. And I know there's always going to be Canelo haters who say he fights people past their primes or whatever. But he fought Floyd Mayweather when he was 22 or 21. Now he went up for a light heavyweight, and he knocked him out. The biggest name, the biggest draw in the light heavyweight division. We can debate where we thought Kovalev ranked, but that was something special that Canelo did. And yeah, I had Kovalev up 7-3. I texted you guys in the group chat my scorecard. I had it 7-3 Kovalev. Watching it again, there were some close rounds. I did favor Kovalev's jab. I could see it being closer, but I thought Kovalev was definitely winning. I mean, McGirt's game plan was really good.
It was.
And he was executing it. Here's my problem with it, though.
I might have some critiques with it, but yes.
He never picked it up, right? He's the bigger man. He never hurt Canelo. At no point was Canelo hurt. You can't let a guy as skilled and as fast and as gifted as Canelo just hang around, because things like that can happen, right? I said by the 8th, 9th round, he should have picked it up. Really before that, right? I had him winning a lot of early rounds. By the 6th round, he should have picked it up, tried to score more right hands, more left hooks off the right hand, and really picked up the pace and tried to get Canelo out of there. And he never did. He just seemed content on trying to win rounds, and then he got caught. When he got caught, and the end came really quickly. It was a right hand, left hook, and then a right hand. I mean, a picture perfect right hand down the pipe that nearly knocked his head off.
Reminded me in some ways of the James Kirkland right hand.
Yeah.
That was just perfect. Sorry, keep going here.
I mean, it was, again, I had two thoughts. Okay, Kovalev is sticking to the game plan, but at a certain point when you're up, when everything's going your way, try to get him out of there. You're the bigger dude, right? If he was the smaller dude and he was having his way like that, okay. But when you're the bigger, physically stronger guy, and you're supposed to be a knockout puncher, why don't you try to, at any point, try to end the fight? Why are you just content with putting rounds in the bank?
Well, it's funny because, I think it was when the press conference happened, right, Rob? We talked about this in some way because I overheard Kovalev in an interview that was right next to me talk about Triple G. And Triple G hitting harder than Kovalev, than himself. And him admitting that. Mm-hmm. That he said, hey, if Triple G couldn't get Canelo out of there, I'm not looking for a knockout. They said that. That was a part of their game plan. So I think they were never going to have any sense of go for the finish, because I think they respected Canelo's chin, because they themselves knew that Triple G has more power than this guy, and Triple G couldn't get him out of there. So no way in hell are we going to do that. So let's outbox him. And I think they were doing that quite successfully throughout the fight. Though I will say, even if you're not going to look for the finish, you have to up the pressure, up the power just a little bit if you're the bigger, stronger guy. At least in theory, if you're Kovalev, right? If you're the bigger, stronger guy, in theory. I think at no point did he really set down on that right hand. To be honest, he maybe did it for a couple times to the body, threw a really good right hook to the body a couple times. But he never really sat down on a straight right hand down the pipe on Canelo or a hook at all. A lot of flurries, a lot of fast shots, low power, but fast combinations. Because he knew, and maybe some aspect, that Canelo's countering ability was extremely elite. And I think quickly Canelo realized, I can get this guy out of there. I can hurt him. I have the power to do it. And that's why I think he, not reluctantly, but for some reason, as fighters do, fell into one shot mode. That's why Canelo wasn't throwing a combination. Because he knew I had the power to hurt Kovalev. He just fell in love with the single shot. And then he landed the right hand in the clinch, and that sort of set everything up. Now, I really don't care to get into the whole like scorecard debate, guys. Like, I let other shows do that. Also, if anybody out there is saying that Kovalev took a dive, you will be blocked. You're just not allowed in this community, to be honest. This is for smart people, not knuckle-dragging Neanderthals. Sorry. So please, no talk of that. Not to you guys. I know we won't talk about it, but to the people listening in the chat, have nuanced debates about maybe the technique and where Canelo goes next in his placement history, not whether Kovalev took a dive. That's fucking stupid.
I've heard that too.
I don't
like,
know why.
if you took a dive, why would you get hit with 3 shots like that? Like, why wouldn't you do a Bruce Eldon and almost get hit and go down? Like,
I don't know.
I heard that. Like, you got to be kidding me. He got hit with 3 flush shots, and the right hand was picture perfect. Like, who takes a dive like that?
I legitimately don't understand the thought process for people to say that. I don't. Like, that's not like I semi understand it. Like, when we get into the Ryan Garcia knockout, I totally understand why people, if they just saw that fight off rip and maybe the first highlight, why they think that one's fishy and weird. And you really have to see one highlight in slow motion to see that shot with Ryan Garcia land behind the ear to see the knockdown. But for this one, it was obvious. It happened live in front of us in real time. We saw that right hand landed clean and flush on Kovalev's chin and drop him. You can't fake that. Like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, you can't act that. That's not an acting thing.
The Ryan Garcia knockdown was a little bit like the Jamel Charlo and Erickson Lubin knockout, where it hit him you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was in the perfect spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you go back and you watch it. Like, it's the same thing with the Jamel Charlo knockout of Lubin. It's like, was that big of a shot? And then you go back and watch, like, okay,
it
landed. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it just landed perfectly. But digressing from that point, yeah, that's talking point out there is stupid. If you're out there, if you see anyone out there doing it, make fun of them. I'm 100% for public shaming. Publicly shame them, please. Mills Lane saying, what about steroids, Matt? Both guys were on VADA for the entire fight camp, so doesn't matter. And Canelo's also year-round in an extra VADA program, so.
I think he pulled out of that one.
Oh, he pulled out of that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just the fight camp then. I know this one had VADA, but I just...
Oh, yeah. Quite a long one as well.
Yeah.
I initially signed up.
I don't know if it's a full, like, let's say 9-week one, but I want to say at least 7-8 week. But digressing from that, I really don't care about that talk point either. Canelo Alvarez, though, talking about that I want to get to is placement in history now, because this is historic. You know, like Rob mentioned, my reaction, which you can go catch the video of. I clipped it out on YouTube. Go check out me and Anthony Walker's reaction to the knockout live. I said then, like, this is one of the most historic. For me, I said comeback wins, but maybe that's a little bit hyperbolic. I will say this, though. This is just a historic win, period. Like, full stop. Like, this is one of the biggest wins I've seen of the last 10, 15 years in boxing. I know he was a 3-1 favorite for the odds, but look, the fight didn't play out that way for me. This was not a 3-1 favorite sort of fight. This was a competitive, close fight at the very least. And to be honest, Kovalev was winning. And Canelo came back for maybe a round or two and knocked out Kovalev in vicious fashion in the 11th and 12th, in the 11th round, the championship round, and did this while moving up 2 divisions after already moving up 3 divisions. Like, this is just, it is historic in a way. Like, I don't know other ways to frame this. Like, this is just an unbelievable win. If Canelo wasn't an automatic Hall of Famer and pound for pound #1, in your opinion, anyone out there listening right now, he has to be right now. He punched his ticket to the Hall of Fame instantaneously with that knockout, even though he probably already did beforehand. And On top of that, he is pound for pound number 1 in the world. You cannot argue the contrary. I'm sorry. You can't. Sorry, Inoue, who I'm a big fan of. Sorry, Crawford. Sorry, Lomachenko. Sorry, Usyk. What Canelo just did is otherworldly. That shouldn't happen. Guys, thoughts?
I got 2 thoughts. First, I thought Canelo, and I'm not really a Canelo fan. I'm really kind of indifferent on him. I don't root for him or against him.
I'm more of a Canelo fan immediately.
Yeah. I mean, he was already a Hall of Famer. He already had enough wins that he was already a Hall of Famer. But now we're talking about like next level greatness. You know, when Hagler ran the 160-pound division for a decade, right? And he cleaned up the division, he started calling up welterweights. So why don't you come up and fight me? You know. And Michael Spinks, who was a light heavyweight champion, was like, well, why don't you come up? And Hagler's like, I'm not going to be a light heavyweight champion. Canelo just did that, right? I mean, and I'm not, obviously Spinks was better than Kovalev, but you know, Hagler didn't dare do what, and I love Hagler. Hagler's one of my favorite fighters of all time, but he didn't dare do what Canelo just did. And Canelo scored, like you said, an amazing comeback knockout in the 11th round. You know, Canelo just doesn't care. He'll fight anyone. After he fought Mayweather when he was 22 or 21. Then he lost to him, and he said, give me the next best pure boxer out there. Give me Laura. And Oscar's like, chill on that. Don't do that. He's like, no, I want to fight Laura. Give me Laura. He fights Laura, right? And before that, he had that fight with Mayweather all lined up. He's like, give me Trout. I want to fight Trout. Who wants to fight Austin Trout in their prime? I mean, you can beat him, but you're never going to look good against him.
And that was Austin Trout coming off like Miguel Cotto win.
That's what I'm saying.
That was a different Austin Trout.
By the way, circle back to Matt's point about clowning people that say Kovalev dived. Go and check Austin Trout's Twitter feed. So go clown the guy. Jesus. Not
bitter. A little bit bitter.
I'm interested in seeing what Canelo's going to do next. I mean, I mean, like, again, I'm starting to, you know, become a fan of the guy just because, like, he doesn't care. He'll fight anybody. And he's always been that. And I know there's haters because of the Chavez Jr. fight. And, like, that's easy money. I guess take it. It was Mexican Independence Day, I guess. No, it was Cinco de Mayo, right?
Which one? Sorry.
Chavez Jr. was Cinco de Mayo?
Yes, because then September was Triple G, right?
Yeah, yes. It's easy money. It's a big fight. They did 1 million pay-per-views about, like, I guess take it. But, like, you can't fault the guy for taking one easy fight. When look what's on his resume. I mean, he is literally everything that's good about boxing. He'll fight anyone. He doesn't care. He's the biggest name in the sport. And when was the last time you saw the A side jump up and fight? You know, fight the bigger guy. It's usually the A side, the big name, makes the smaller guy come up. Canelo just did the opposite and knocked him out.
And
I mean,
champion walked out first, right?
I want to bring up that point really quick, and then I want Rob's take on this subject. People bring up Loma in the chat. I see a lot of people bring up Loma as number 1. Look, Loma's best win, if we're fucking honest, it's Guillermo Rigondeaux. And that is the complete inverse of this situation right here. Where Loma was the bigger guy by 2 weight classes and beat up on the smaller guy and dominated him. Canelo moved up 2 weight classes after already moving up 3 weight classes, guys. People are forgetting that. He started at 147 and then moved up to 160 and then moved up all the way to 175, okay, and then beat Sergey Kovalev, who at worst, guys, is the top 4th light heavyweight in the world, right? And at best, he's at the time that Canelo beat him yesterday, was number 2. Like, let's just be honest here. You can laugh, Rob, but that's the honest truth.
She said number 2.
That's what you're laughing at. The immature 13-year-old. Okay.
Yeah. I want to get down to that pound for pound thing real quick because I think.
Hold on, quickly. I want Rob to jump in here about Canelo's historic placement, and then if you want to jump in for pound, you can, Gary. Rob, where does Canelo place here, like historically in any sense? Like, is it too soon in your opinion, or any way to start talking about Canelo all time?
I don't know. What is he? 50? What fight? How many fights now?
Hold on, I have it up.
It's a ridiculous amount of fights.
He has 52 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws.
So that was his 55th
fight.
55th fight?
Yeah. 55 fight. Yeah, it's too late for me. It's nearly 1 a.m. Yeah, his resume is just insane. And if there's ever someone that you can look at and talk about losing your O. Someone's O has got to go. His O went against Mayweather, and look what he's done since then. It's insane. I just who currently anywhere else is going to do this, what he's doing right now. It isn't that guy, I don't think.
I agree completely. And a lot of people are Loma stands in the chat right now. Look,
that's okay. No, I get it.
No, guys, hold on. Quickly. Hold on, guys. Let's hold on. Please call in, guys. Like I really want to debate all these points that you guys are bringing up because they're debatable, and I think I would demolish all you guys, even you, Leonard, even though you're a fucking wizard in boxing. Call in, please. Skype Mixed Combat Radio 323-870-4051. I'm no longer arguing with the chat right now because look. Again, Loma's best win is Guillermo Rigondeaux, not Pedraza, not Luke Campbell, not Gary Russell Jr. when he wasn't proven, not Nicholas Walters off of a huge layoff. Nope, it was Guillermo Rigondeaux. And that's the inverse of what we just saw last night. And that's very indicative of who's the number one pound-for-pound guy.
I think it's just Foogatti with a lot of sock accounts spreading all that Loma love in the chat. It's just he made 10 different accounts. Loma.
I know that's not true, but I want that to be true.
No, for me, look, don't get me wrong. Loma's a fantastic fighter. Probably more technically sound and skilled than Canelo, but just Canelo's resume is just insane. I know people will throw up, but he's got Vegas in his pocket. Look at the cards from last night and look at the cards he's had in the past. And that's not on him. I don't know. He's still taking the challenges.
That's on capitalism.
Yeah, sure. But for me, doing what he's doing, I mean, what is next? Sensibly, you'd say maybe 168 or Bivol at 175, purely because of the size is a bit more like realistic. But what I think the next amazing thing that Canelo could do is go back down to 160 from 175 and do something great there. I don't know who that opponent would be. But, I mean, is it people that always say Canelo's kryptonite is going to be a guy that can box and move? So does he take a Billy Joe Saunders or an Andrade? Maybe people wouldn't get too excited about that, but that's ticking another box. That's another middle finger up to people that say, yeah, but he's avoided Billy Joe because Billy Joe's got the skills and the movement and the sort of boxing IQ to beat Kovalev or to beat Canelo, sorry, or Andrade. Same sort of narrative is given there. Apparently that is the kryptonite for Canelo, someone who can move in front of him. So for me, that's the legacy. The next legacy thing is to go back down to 160
or 168 if it's Billy Joe.
Yeah, no, I'm saying sensibly it would be 168, and then if you're going back to 160, you do it in stages. But
it would be the healthier thing too. I want to add.
Yeah, that's what I mean by sensibly. But Canelo is Canelo, and the next challenge might be I'm going to drop right back down to middleweight. I'm going to do something there. I don't know. It's just where the biggest fights are, I guess.
Or he stays at 175 and fights better beef, as he keeps saying.
Don't do that. I think that's the wrong fight.
It is look, he probably loses that fight. Like, let's be honest, but like he keeps mentioning, like he's open with it. Like he's open to the idea, and
yeah, they're also open to cruiserweight. So that's
what I'm saying. He's got the old. He doesn't care. He'll go fight better beef. Like he doesn't care.
He's crazy. He might be. He's
the
baddest motherfucker around.
More than Clen in that fucking beef, I'll tell you. There's like fucking LSD or some shit. He's seeing things that people don't see. There's talk of cruiserweight has come up, man. I'm like, it's insane. I don't know who that could. I mean, look, Okoli. He could maybe beat Okoli.
No, he is 100% beating Okoli.
I know he's awkward. You'll see him in the clinch. You'll see what he can do when he's being held.
What's his name? I think it's Boxing Junkie on Twitter. Friend of the show in a way. He made a joke like, we now need to see Okoli versus Canelo to really test out Canelo's boxing ability. And I just laughed my ass off, man. That was great.
So let's see you deal with that style.
But guys, are we all in agreement that Canelo's pound for pound number one?
I want it
for me. Yeah, for me.
Yes.
For me. And like you say, he's Hall of Famer whenever they want to put him in there. Whenever he's now. Mm-hmm. He was before this, in my opinion. So this is just put the final cherry on the icing of the whatever. But yeah, just crazy. Just yeah.
Gary?
On the pound for pound thing, I'm of the old school nature where a pound for pound champ can't lose his title by winning, right? So meaning as long as the pound for pound champ keeps winning or doesn't retire like Warden and Floyd, then he stays pound for pound. I had Terrence Crawford at number 1. That being said, there's no way after this you can't put Canelo at number. Like I still say Clemson's the number 1 college football team in the country because they won the national championship. They have the same team and they haven't lost, so they're number 1 until they get beaten. But after Canelo did that, like how do you not make him number 1? He went up 2 weight classes and beat the man at 175. The only other guy you could really make an argument for was Inoue, saying I did that to Navarez. You know what I'm saying? But this is a bigger scale.
Significantly bigger scale.
Yeah.
And pure pounds between weight classes and just percentage of body weight, like it's a bigger deal.
Like it's got to be Canelo. Like I mean, I was always under the mindset like you can't lose your crown unless you lose, and Crawford never loses, so it's Crawford till he loses. But after this, you know, like if Crawford went up to 160 and beat, you know, Triple G or Canelo or someone there, you'd be like, okay, that changes things, right? This changes things. So yeah, I got to put Canelo number 1 pound for pound now, and I put Crawford 2 and Inoue 3.
So both of you have a little think, but what fight do you want next for Canelo? Cinco de Mayo next year. What do you want?
Just read my mind. That was gonna be my exact next question, Robert.
Getting good at this now.
Look at you, man. Look, the flow, the organization, amazing. If I had to pick, if I'm playing matchmaker,
what do you want, and then what do you think?
Here's what I personally want, and I know I'm going to get a PBC fan for you because it's Charlo. I would love to see a Jamal Charlo Texas showdown with Canelo. Like, that would just be an all-action fight. I would obviously pick Canelo, but I think Charlo's style would be a really fun matchup, stylistically, with Canelo. While obviously Andrade, Billy Joe may have styles to beat Canelo, Charlo has the style to give us one of the most exciting fights of the year with Canelo, in my opinion. Fight, though, that I think would be out of the box fight that I'm going to mention that is not really a possibility, but one that I want to see. Gilberto Ramirez. I would love to see a all-Mexican showdown between Gilberto Ramirez and Canelo Alvarez. That would be a really fun, intriguing fight for me.
Gary.
I personally, you guys know I'd want him to fight Charlo. Like that, just what I would personally want. What I think we're gonna get next is Billy Joe, probably at 68. I think that's why Eddie's putting him on the DAZN card, the KSI card, so that people get to see just how boring he is. But no, like I think he's trying to make Billy Joe a household name, which is why he's putting him on that card. And I think Cinco de Mayo, we're getting Billy Joe versus Canelo. I would guess at 168, but you know, maybe at 160, but probably at 68.
Well, yeah, at 168, he can finally be the four division, actual division belt world title holder, can't he? Instead of the WBA trinket that he's claiming as the 4th. But
who did Billy Joe beat to get that strap at 168?
Sufi.
Sufi.
That was the guy.
Hey, let's keep going down this road. Who did Andrade beat for his little trinket? Was it Walter Katandokwa, aka Walter White from Breaking Bad?
It was, but Billy Joe popped dirty and
that
had his
shit happens.
No, you're right.
But here's the thing: all these fights are great fights still.
Yeah.
You know, like Billy Joe Saunders, still a great fight for Canelo. I think Andrade's still a great fight for Canelo, even though we can probably pick apart why maybe it's not the best. But these are all fun fights. Like, Canelo's in a stage where, like, his tune-up is still a fun fight. You know what I mean? And that's, in a weird way, like, similar to, like, Mayweather in a sense. Like, Mayweather in, like, the pay-per-view run, like, his tune-up was Robert Guerrero, which was still, like, a notable name. You know what I mean? Like, I think Canelo's at that stage where his tune-up is still notable names. I think we're hopefully done with that stage of bad fights.
Charlo is what we're talking about.
Yeah, Charlo would be a tune-up. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you feel Callum Smith isn't going to get the phone call.
No, because he's not a tune-up, in my opinion. I think he takes a tune-up level fight next, to be honest. But a tune-up level fight for him would be Jamal Charlo at this point in time.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I agree. Maybe tune-up's a little harsh, but I get you. I get what you mean.
It's 100% harsh with our connotation in the boxing community, but this is just the reality at this point.
What about Joe Smith Jr. at the Garden?
That would align with the tune-up fight, but look, you're the only one on that show that keeps bringing up Joe Smith Jr. with these fights.
But he's got to fight with Hart. Should he beat Hart? That's a good win.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I don't want Canelo versus Joe Smith Jr. That's not intriguing. That would be like a Canelo Murata fight.
But it was like Canelo versus Kirkland, but now you made Kirkland bigger.
No. Kirkland wasn't top 10. Joe Smith Jr. is top 10. I'll give him that credit. He's like ninth in the division, but I'll give him that credit. Okay. This would be like, again, Canelo fighting Murata, who's a regional star, obviously in Japan. You know, a top 10-ish, 15 guy in the middleweight division. But that does really nothing for me. No way. That's too far to the tune-up. Like more of the connotation of a tune-up, in my opinion. There's not an intriguing narrative there with the matchup. There's not an intriguing style matchup, really, in my opinion.
It's just weird that we're mentioning anyone from 160 to 175. Like, it's like go fish. Any of these three weight classes, just pick a name. Pick the best name you can make.
Because that's what he is now. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, Canelo might he might be at that stage where he just doesn't care about the belts because he's making a lot of money regardless, and he doesn't need the belts, so he's just going to go fight big names and interesting names. And to the point, like you mentioned with the Laura matchup years ago, this is not out of character for Canelo to take risky matchups when his own promoter is telling him not to. That's actually 100% what Canelo does. So I don't know here. I can see
now if Oscar tries to offer any advice.
Oh my! Yo, did you see Canelo try as hard as he could to not let Oscar hug him at the press conference?
Yes. It was great.
That was the funniest thing ever.
Having Canelo is like buying Microsoft in the 80s. Just don't do anything, right? Just collect the dividend. Just sit there, and you don't have to work anymore. Just, I'm being serious, right? Like, just don't do anything. You can just collect money off of that for the rest of his career.
But at the moment, he's risking being the guy that sold his Apple shares when they were like $7 a pop or what. That's where Oscar is right now. Just don't do that. Just let him be. But yeah, for me, I think Saunders is in with a shout, and I think you're right, Gary. That'll be 168. They're not going. There's no reason to try and do that at 160 because Saunders has got a bout that Canelo would probably want to. I think that might be something he's hearing, even though he's out there saying I'm a four division champion or whatever.
But PBC won't recognize him as one because they don't recognize the WBO.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't care what BBC have got to say about anything.
Quickly, Leonard Sterling saying, "Let's get real, guys. You have not named the best 175-pounders: Bivol, Better Beef, or the best 168-pounders: Smith, Benavidez, and Plant." First off, we did mention Smith. I just mentioned that I don't think he's fighting him in May. I think he would totally fight him, just not next. He just fought Kovalev, man. Secondly, we did mention Better Beef and Bivol, and we said no, he's probably not gonna fight those guys because those guys probably do beat him. And this 175 was kind of a bridge too far, but maybe he got a little bit lucky that it was Kovalev. You know what I mean? Not a prime fighter in a way.
What about Bivol? Size wise is more.
But I think wear and tear is a factor. But I
think Bivol's a name that's going to be exciting for people. Either I don't think that.
Oh, you think it's not going to be exciting?
No, no. Who's asking for that fight besides like hardcore? And I'd rather see him fight Caleb Plant than Bivol, right? So like,
or Benavidez or Count Smith,
Benavidez. Benavidez would be a great fight. Like, I mean, Bivol could make it because he's on the zone side with. I guess he's with Eddie, but he's still I guess he's co-promoted.
Yeah, he is. It's just not. He's just a network free agent, I believe. But
okay,
with obviously Cafe do. Oh my God, how many people are in people's pockets right now?
A lot.
Like Kovalev, damn.
Poor Kovalev.
I think we get that fight now. I think Kathy said, "Okay, one more fight with Kovalev. I'll give him Bivol now." right? Because like,
yeah,
Oh,
you think that gets made now?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, on DAZN.
They look. Kathy Duva, and she's smart. She's been around a while. Obviously, she's grown up in the sport. She knows that if you have a young, undefeated champion like Bivol, you need to get him over with the older generation. Kovalev did that with Bernard Hopkins, for example, right? That passing the torch moment. It obviously was a faded Bernard Hopkins, but it still mattered in a way. And I think in the same way, you need Bivol to fight that former generation of 175 to really establish himself with more of a wider fan base, to be honest. And in the same vein of like 147, and they were all most of them at this point, rather unfortunate that they were not lucky enough to fight Mayweather or Pacquiao. And then they've had to sort of had a rougher time getting to the top of stardom because of that. I think Bivol, if he fights Kovalev, it's an easier road to markability, drawing power for him. And that's just a fight that needs to happen. But digress from that. Any last points about Canelo Alvarez here, guys?
No, I just thought, took a little while to, wipe the sleep out of his eyes from being on the couch. And, eventually got him out of there, as predicted.
We will talk about that in a second as well once we get through this undercard. Ryan Garcia defeating Romero Duno via first round KO. And luckily, there's not much to talk about here. Ryan Garcia really just demolished Duno rather quickly.
It's Ryan's fault. This whole thing is Ryan's fault. This was supposed to last longer.
I get what you're saying.
He fought well for someone who was scared of the guy. Yeah?
Oh, man. Dude, I am so happy to see Oscar De La Hoya and Eric Gomez eat their words. It makes me so happy. Like, I'm not a Ryan Garcia fan at all, and I'll be honest, I'm probably more of a hater of Ryan Garcia. But through the whole beef with Oscar, I'm supporting Ryan Garcia 110%.
Hell yeah.
And for the fact
that to encourage the petty.
Absolutely. And for the fact that his promoter again went out in public and said that he was scared of this guy. And then him to go out there and knock him out in the first round. Jesus Christ himself could not write a better story, honestly. Like that is more than perfect. I am so happy this happened. But again, not much to really tell about the fight because it happened in about a minute and like 10 seconds. And I think there was a clear athletic difference between these two. Like it was night and day. Honestly.
I think go back, listen to the prediction show. Ryan Garcia via speed.
Oh, I think we all picked Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
I picked him by bogus decision
as well.
On
a hot streak. That's
no, because I thought me and you for sure picked like Ryan Garcia, like more definitive. Gary, that's right. Gary was like, no, Duno's gonna give him that work, and he should win the fight. Gary,
I picked him I picked Garcia by bogus decision. Remember, that was I thought would trouble him on the inside like Velez did. Went round, beat him up, slow him down, and well. He never got that.
Rabbit in the headlights the minute Ryan threw a punch. And it's like, holy shit, I didn't even see that. You know what I mean? Like, wow. Like, the speed's too much.
Do you think Ryan should take a huge step up in competition, guys?
Yeah, Devin Haney.
I'm okay with that. We're going to talk about him later on.
Yeah, we just, I mean, nothing in between, Rob. You want to go straight to Devin Haney?
Well, I mean,
he's next in line, right?
Timeout. There's not much between those two.
Between Duno and Devin Haney?
No. Between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Of course, Duno and Devin Haney. No. Of course, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, both guys are really unproven prospects, even though one has a belt right now.
Kind of has. I mean, he has a belt. He does have a belt.
He technically has a belt. We have to say it. It's unfortunate.
The WBC is sending me one too, so I'll.
Yes.
What's he got? The silver.
I'm getting the BMF belt. By the way, I'm getting that later down the line. That belt looked amazing, by the way. Digressing, though.
It means fuck all, but yeah.
It does mean fuck all, but hey, at least it was a cool-looking belt. I can't say that about most of boxing's championship belts, but digressing. Is there any real takeaway we can have here from the Ryan Garcia fight? Any substantive point we can take away that...
Nah, just...
The speed is real, and you can see at a lower level, that speed is going to be way too much. Now we'll see what it does against elite level competition.
Did we see any head movement that was improved from Ryan Garcia in this matchup? Again, I know it was a little bit. Too much. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know how you can gauge it.
Yeah, agreed. Moving on. I'm curious to see who they match up Ryan Garcia next, because who they match him up with next will be a huge determining factor in what they view about him now. Because I need to see a top 10 guy versus Ryan Garcia. I need to see that. He's ready. Not even a top 15, 20 guy. Go to the top 10. He's talented enough. If he loses, who cares? Moving on. Sinus Estrada defeating Marlon Esparza via technical decision, even though there was a scorecard of 90-81 that was utterly atrocious and one of the worst scorecards of the year. Easily. I thought the right person won. I thought Estrada did win this fight. I thought she was the better boxer. I think she was the tougher fighter as well in sort of the exchanges with Esparza. And holy Jesus fucking Christ, that cut. That was one of the worst cuts I've ever seen in all of combat sports. Like when she like grabbed it with her glove and yanked it down, and her skin just flapped, and you see her skull. Bro, like no, I was out. I could not handle that. That was rough for me.
Yeah, we needed a break in the fucking the action right there.
Yeah, trigger warning for that shit. Holy cow!
Let's get that famous first week DAZN crotch shot or something, because I don't need to see the fucking skull. Let's get those crazy angles back.
The way the camera's at like the base. That was so bad.
Dude's ass. Nice. Thanks.
That was so bad. But wow. Thoughts on this fight, guys? Gary. Obviously, I know Esparza was a Texas fighter. I know you picked her in this fight. She didn't win though, and obviously, I think.
Why is that funny? Because I picked Esparza, who's an Olympic medalist. Like, why is that funny?
No, it's just another one.
Another one bites the dust. Another one.
All right.
The yin to my yang, Gary.
Remember when you picked Luke Campbell to beat Loma? That was good time.
All right.
Oh, did you hear Rob? All right.
Yeah, well, I'm coming with that.
Relax.
Yeah, how's Terry Flanagan these days? Cool.
The last time I pick a Brit, that's for sure.
Anyways.
Yeah, the fight, Gary. The fight. Come on, stay on.
I mean, that was a great fight.
It was.
Look, I think, when did that cut open up? Was it the 4th or the 5th? But there was a clear change in the fight. Like, I want to see him do it again. Like, I thought Esparza was doing really well in the first 3 rounds. I thought she won the first 3 rounds, and then that cut happened. I don't know if it changed her mentality or what, but the fight seemed to change. Or maybe it was just, she was getting figured out. Man, I don't know. But I want to see him do it again. I think it was – look, I thought the right person won. At the time that went to the cards, I thought Estrada had won enough rounds to win the fight. But I thought the fight changed, so I'd like to see it again. It was a really good fight. I don't think anyone would mind seeing it again, right? So
I agree.
I think that thing was gruesome. I can't believe they let it go on as long as they did. I'm just wondering if they would have stopped it earlier. And I guess the scorecards were so ridiculous, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, if they would have stopped it in the 5th.
Those scorecards were really bad.
If they would have stopped it in the 5th, do you think we would have got a different winner? Because I haven't seen the cards, but you're right. 90-81 means she lost every single round.
All the scorecards, it was 88-83.
Was the closest. Yeah.
89-82, and then 90-81. And like I said, the first 3 rounds, you give to Esparza. Like, just give it to her. Like, she clearly won the first 3 rounds. Maybe even the first 4 rounds, honestly. But the next 5, Estrada took over. Like, clear as day. And I thought she won a close decision, but God, not the way the judges scored it. But digress from that, I agree, Gary. I do think they should run it back. I do, however, think that Esparza needs some time off to heal that cut.
A lot of time, and not I mean,
she could do a WWE fight or something.
Like, honestly, you can't train with that type of cut for a long time. Like, she might take 9 months to a year off, and that's probably a good thing. And plus, she's young enough so that she can do that. I know she's like 31, but like she's young enough where she can take a year off if she needs to and come back and just try to get big fights and make some money and bow out for the career. Like, she can just do that route, which is a really good route to do.
She could do Esparza versus Braun Strowman just to rest that cut.
Moving on. Rob, any thoughts on this fight?
No, good fight. Again, I picked Estrada. I'm just on fire. But no, that cut. Oh my God, that was horrific. And yeah, it was a matter of time before they had to pull her from that. Brave girl carrying on from that. Like me and Gary were talking. I think you got up for a drink before we came on, but like the Badu Jack one, but like
worse.
Yeah,
like far worse. And the Badu Jack one was bad.
Yeah, when we saw that, it was like, oh my god, that's the worst cut I've ever seen. And then
and I'm not a doctor.
We'd get that topped.
I'm not a doctor, but I like the Badu Jack cut wasn't bleeding in his eyes, right? This one was, but aside from that, like, isn't there just a point where you've lost too much blood? Like,
it's not that thing, I don't think it's even that. Like, she was getting scalped in front of us. Like, there was one moment where they flipped up the flap, and it literally looked like they were scalping her, bro. Like, I'm not shitting you.
Let's pin that back. It's getting in the way.
Like, that's what they were trying to do, it looked like, bro. I'm not shitting you. Like, it was the craziest cut I have ever seen in combat sports history. And I've seen some gnarly cuts because I watch MMA too, guys. So those cuts over there are insane. This one was the gnarliest cut of all time. I'm going to go on that ledge. Show me a bigger cut.
I know when I was watching it, like, I had two thoughts. I was like, shout out to the commission for not stopping it because it's a girl. That was my first thought. Second thought was maybe we should just stop this fight regardless because it's a human being.
Yeah.
Like
man or woman.
Yeah.
Man or woman, what are we watching?
We're watching someone literally get scalped in front of us. What are we watching?
I'm glad we didn't see the cut man after the fight still putting Vaseline in it. I've seen that so many times. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you putting Vaseline in a fight that's not?
Staple it or something.
The fucking doctor is now going to have to clean that shit out to sort you out. I've seen it so many times at the end of fights.
Mm-hmm.
I know they said that Badu Jack took like 130 something stitches. I'm just interested to see like the over under. Like, is this going to be more or less than Badu Jack?
Let me check.
My over and under, guys, is 1,000 stitches. I'm not joking. That her entire like frontal lobe was exposed to us.
Yeah. Estrada by lobotomy.
Literally. We're not joking here. If you have not seen the fight, I know like Leonard hadn't seen some of the fights yet. Like, go watch this fight. First off, it's a good fight. But secondly, you just have to see the cut. Like, you just have to see it. Like, this is one of those things you have to see in your lifetime.
It's one of those, when you're scrolling through Twitter and like you're just scrolling, and then you see like a horrific leg break or something. When this pops up on your feed and you go, oh shit, you just try to scroll off it quick. But then the curiosity kicks in that you go back again just to have another look. But oh yeah, nasty. But yeah, shout out to the women doing their thing lately, right? Good fights being put on. We just need that depth in the talent pool, I guess.
Boom is saying she had 20 stitches on IG. Not enough. I'm not a doctor.
How wide were they?
It's not enough stitches.
Yeah.
But
low on thread or something.
Well, we have to sort of hurry up because we've been talking about this card for almost an hour, and we have a lot of stuff to get to. Maybe we push a lot of the news to tomorrow's show. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe just get through the fights today.
Whatever.
But
we don't need to worry about Chavez.
And we have a
lot of other news too. But we might.
I'm available, Matt. Like, we can do more shows. Like, if you want to like chop it up and go to Cole's and do half the topics tomorrow, and we can talk about this off air, but I'm available to do more shows if you are.
Perfect. I know you are, because obviously the time zones are more hospitable than me and Rob.
And I mean, Rob,
you're in bed before 1.
And Rob works like 12-hour shifts, and Gary just sits at home because he's retired.
Yeah, he does a 2-hour day.
3. Sometimes I have to travel, but I mean, and I usually do that in the middle of the night, like 5 o'clock in the morning. But I mean, to be fair, I mean, I don't get his British wit, so maybe they do on the other side. But Rob doesn't add much to the show, really. I mean,
Yeah, this is Rob needs to work on his flow for sure.
I'm just kidding, Rob.
I know, mate. I know.
Anyways,
topic.
Backroom.
We do Blair the Flair Cobbs.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about everything that I've seen, and stuff that you've seen that I haven't seen. Because there's like stuff in the Katie Taylor card that I've not seen that I want you to talk about because I've not seen it. Backroom Mertzelev. I'm gonna butcher this name every time I see it because it's just way too many vowels and consonants that just in different combinations, just too much. Defeating Jorge Fortea. He's a guy that I know he had a bunch of hype. He looked decent, but I need to see a lot more from him, to be quite honest. Guys, any thoughts on this fight?
I honestly didn't catch this one, I'm afraid.
I didn't catch it either.
Oh, you were in bed.
Blair Cobbs defeating Carlos Ortiz. Well, there's a third name, so that confused me there because I just remember it being Ortiz on the telecast. But digressing, Blair Cobbs winning via technical decision. I mean, he looked good here. I'm yet to see the hype around him, to be honest, because he has some hype around him for some reason.
His own hype.
Is that what it is?
I mean,
J-Rock was hyping him up. Like, there's certain boxers I know that have been hyping up this guy too. But I was not impressed, to be honest. He looked fine, but fine. Same with Backroom. Like, they just look kind of fine, decent.
He's picked himself off the floor in his last 2 fights to early knockdowns. But I know the sport needs characters, but I just don't want this one. He's annoying. But people might tune in to watch him lose or something like that, you know. So he's doing that whole. He got the booze at the weigh-in because of his Ric Flair fucking woo, you know, all that shit, and talking like he was talking to Mean Gene Oakland back in the day.
Can you do the Ric Flair again? Can you do that?
No, I'm not doing. I'm not.
You actually did a pretty good job there, Rob. I'm not gonna lie.
The first one was better. I can't.
When I said you did a good job, I did not mention the second time, of course.
Okay,
that was.
For me,
we can move on. It's Blair Cobbs. Like, we don't need to talk about it.
He did all right after getting knocked down. He was fairly slickish.
Quick mention of Evan Holyfield, obviously Evander Holyfield's son, having his pro debut. I didn't watch it. I'll be.
It's all right. Referee maybe could have let that go on a bit, but again, he was only going to get hurt, the kid. So maybe the right decision, but he did jump in very quickly to wave that off.
Now,
I mean, I think they wanted to get him the knockout, so they stopped it. I mean, look, Evander Holyfield is one of my all-time favorite fighters. Holyfield Bow 1 was the fight that made me fall in love with boxing. He didn't look. I mean, again, I don't know how old he was, but like he looked wild. I don't know. I mean,
I don't care.
He's the son of a legend, and that's pretty much what he's got going.
Yeah.
Common theme: wild sons of legends.
Holyfield's got another kid that plays for the Carolina Panthers.
Digressing. Moving on. We're still on the Canelo Kovalev topic, just for a brief segment here. We're talking about the whole intermission controversy, because that's a separate topic entirely, I feel like, from the card itself. For those who don't know, DAZN, before the fight, I think on Friday, came out and said, look, the Canelo-Kovalev fight will take place after the UFC event. Obviously, we went through Saturday, and all the Golden Boy events or fights started ending pretty early, it seems, and then the Ryan Garcia fights ends in the first round, and we have an hour and a half of kill time for the DAZN telecast. Now, for those in attendance, they were lucky enough because of this little piece of news. Thank you, Dana White. Even though this is a huge rant from Dana White, we did get this little tidbit that MGM called Dana White, not that Friday when they announced, by the way, that they were going to do this whole sort of what's the term? Staggered. Thank you. Staggered event here. They waited till the co-main event of the UFC card to call up Dana White and say, hey, can we be allowed to show the UFC main event at the MGM Grand? Dana White said, of course. And I'm assuming he also said with the check that you're going to mail to me, right, guys? And they said yes. And so the MGM Grand did show the Nate Diaz-Jorge Masvidal fight live for the people in attendance on the Jumbotron. That's cool. Those were watching on DAZN, though, and those are their only hardcore boxing fans that weren't watching the MMA card, a.k.a. the only people that are upset about this whole intermission. Because those that are crossover fans like me, we don't care. But the hardcore only boxing fans that do care about this intermission, I understand why they're upset. You had an hour and a half of kill time, and you had really nothing to kill it with. You didn't put on other fights that were early on in the telecast, which you should have done. You didn't really have any planned, in my opinion, really smart promotion or anything of the sort for your consumers. You had Meta World Peace, aka Ron Artest, up there telling you the consumers to buy the pay-per-view when it's DAZN. That was hilarious. And it's just the same promo packages, the same backstage interviews they're seeing on loop, and that for an hour and a half. That was poor planning. I do think that the idea of staggering events like this to not have main events of competing combat sports on at the same time, especially if they're big-time events, that's smart. That's just good, A, business, and B, good for the consumers overall. However, you have to add a sort of plan to fill up that time, and clearly Golden Boy didn't. And the easiest thing they should have done was just start their card later. Just move the card. I know that maybe would have been hard for maybe the Sky telecast, but that probably shouldn't have been, honestly. They shouldn't have started at 6. They should have started at 7, and this wouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah, I've seen a whole, from certain quarters, it was the obvious things that people were going to say from the obvious people, but a lot of people were annoyed with this, and I understand it. But the same people that are saying, why is Canelo going up against the UFC, the big card, and why are they doing this? With the same people that say, why are we waiting for the fucking fight to start? It's like, I think the intention was to try and do the right thing, but like you said, they just didn't have anything really to fill the gap. Is from what I've made. Obviously, I haven't got the DAZN's feed. We had Sky. There was a lot of, at least Sky had stuff to fall back on as far as Katie Taylor fought last night as well, and they could sort of show a bit of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I can, like I say, I can understand the consumer, because it was like, well, you can wait because we're hoping to get some new subscribers coming in, but you guys that have already paid and been here from the start, maybe, you're just gonna have to wait. And
on that point, really quickly, just want to bring this up, whether or not it's true, my comments are reporting DAZN received tremendous backlash for its decision to begin Canelo Kovalev following UFC 244, meaning the bout didn't begin until after 1 a.m. Eastern Time, but it appears the move paid off. Told DAZN subscription signups and audience surged immediately following the end of Masvidal Diaz. Whether or not that's true, I don't think it really matters. But
no,
that's what it's been reported.
The thing for me that's just got me like, oh my God, is the whole, obviously, I think it was like Dougie Fisher, like, shout out to people on the East Coast. It's 1 a.m. over there right now. And I'm like, and? It's fucking 1 a.m. Grown ass America. What's the matter? Did you turn into werewolves or something after a certain? You were getting an hour back anyway. Your clocks went back, right? So relax. It's fucking fight night. Don't worry about it. Just sleep in tomorrow. So tomorrow's Sunday.
No. Look, I'm not talking about the time issue.
No. The production side of things. Why there wasn't, but didn't
quickly to your point, I do think that the whole it being upset at 1 a.m. is not really what people are upset about. I think people are upset that they had to wait an hour and a half of nothing for a fight to then happen at 1:30 a.m. Yeah. That's the upsetting part.
I get that. Yeah. And what was one last point I was going to make? Yeah, I can't remember, but there's been a lot. But I get the whole. But yeah, that was it. Didn't one of the Canelo Triple G fights have a huge gap?
Yes, they did. It was the second Canelo Triple G fight. What they did in the meantime is they show the first fight. They show the entirety of the first fight. And I'm not saying that was a smart thing to do, but that's what they did.
Because what was the gap? What was the wait in that? That was like over an hour too, wasn't it?
I don't want. Maybe it hit an hour. It wasn't as long as this one. This one was longer.
I think it was like 64 minutes. I remember it being like just over an hour.
Yeah. So maybe, not doing the whole like DAZN defending, but people saying, "Oh, DAZN, what were they doing?" But with this whole fucking delay, but maybe it's a Golden Boy thing, because this has happened before on a Canelo card, right? So
I think. Look,
maybe more cards, more live.
Let me jump in, because I have DAZN. DAZN has pacing issues. Full stop. However, for this sort of issue where they have this huge hour intermission when it comes to DAZN card, not DAZN cards, sorry, Canelo cards, maybe that is a Golden Boy issue more so. But DAZN does have massive pacing issues overall. Like, regardless of this hour intermission, like, even the rest of the undercard, I felt like was like slowly paced, and then the fights were short. Like, it was just a weird pace, and that's usual for DAZN cards. Now, Gary, you have DAZN, obviously. Thoughts on the hour and a half intermission, and then maybe DAZN pacing overall, since we brought up that topic as well.
I mean, the hour and a half intermission, it is what it is. I mean, I don't really mind it. I mean, I know everyone else is going to hate it, but it's like the Super Bowl pregame show. I mean, people watch that for 10 hours before the actual Super Bowl starts. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not that big. I know everyone's going to complain, so don't do it. But, like, it's not that big a deal to me personally.
There are other things we should be far more upset about in this combat sport world.
Right. And I want to ask you that. I didn't watch the UFC fight. Was it a good fight?
Yes,
I know
it was.
the names were.
Yeah,
so
it was a really good fight.
that's a win for everyone involved. Like, so if it was a boring fight, right, that would have sucked. But it's a win for Dana White because he got a check. If he gets one new fan out of it, that's a double win. And the fans there got to watch what was a good fight. So, you know, again, no one likes to wait an hour and a half, but you know, at least you got something out of it, right? You got the UFC fight, which was the fight.
The fans in attendance did, not people watching on DAZN.
Oh no, we got nothing. But I mean, like if you're having a fight party, right? Like my neighbor's, my neighbor's wife. Well, I guess my neighbor's wife is just my neighbor. My neighbor's from Mexico. She doesn't really care about boxing, but every time Canelo's fight, they have a huge fight party, right? So it's like you don't even know, like, okay, an hour and a half has gone by, but everyone's talking, drinking, having fun. Like, you know, it's like Super Bowl party. It's like you just like the time just goes by. So it's like to me, it's not that big a deal. But you know, everyone likes to complain about something. So, and the fight did start late, but like I don't know. To me, it's like okay, well, you know, like if the World Series went into 15 innings, would you complain if the game went on too long? Like it's just like I don't know. It's not a big deal to me. It wasn't a big deal in the Triple G fight. Showing the first fight in its entirety is hysterical.
Dude, that was a ballsy move by them.
People tuning in. Wait, this is just like the first fight.
Yeah, if you're at the fight itself, you might be like, "Hey, what's going on here?" But if they show you the UFC fight, at least I have something to look at, right?
Yeah,
but
people in the arena were like happy. They were like happy. I think Michelle Phelps was like, "Check it out, we're here waiting for the thing."
Look, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Rob. I apologize. But let's be honest here. The people that are really bitching about this are super hardcore, only boxing fans, and they're the 500 people on Twitter. Right?
Yeah,
like it's a very small vocal group. Now, I'm not saying
headed up by Steven Espinoza.
Now, I'm not saying that this hour and a half was a thing that should be replicated and a thing that should be moved forward for all Canelo cards. No, I think it was a bad move, but the sky is not falling, ladies and gentlemen. Like there are bigger issues. There are bigger issues even within this card, I would say. Look at the Esparza Estrada scoring and judging in that fight. That's a bigger issue than the hour and a half intermission, in my opinion. Why is that not more of a talking point amongst all you guys yelling about corporations online? But yet you will pay for everything, and you really bitch about the wrong things. Come on, guys. Like, this is not something to be upset about, or at least upset in this manner, I should say. But moving on, because we don't need to talk about that.
I got a question, though. What if it was an hour and a half delay for a fight on FS1? Would you complain then?
I complain about FS1 pacing all the time.
All right, yeah, because FS1 is awful, by the way.
Oh, my gosh. And oh, by the way, for PBC fans or boxing fans that watch PBC cards, get used to that. Sorry. Like, Fox Sports pacing has always been bad. But for Fox, they have commercials. At least I kind of understand that in some way. DAZN's a streaming app with no commercials. No, let's fucking hurry this shit up, okay? For example, UFC pay-per-view, they hurry shit up. The pace in the UFC pay-per-view is quick. Not just the fights, but the in-between time. They maybe do a promo, and nope, it's fights. Let's go. You know, maybe in between fight, we go back to Joe Rogan and whoever talking about the fights as they get ready for the next bout, clean up the mat. But then it's, let's go. Let's keep moving the night along. DAZN and boxing as a whole needs to have that mentality as more of like, let's hurry this up. The pomp and circumstance of 30-minute national anthems, 30 minutes of talking heads, another 30 minutes of different talking heads in a different booth in a different part of the stadium. We don't need that. We don't need 30 different promo packages. We do not need that. I'm sorry. If we're watching the event, you got us. You don't need to sell us anymore.
I wanted to add one thing. The crew, the fight crew, which is about 500 people. Why don't they add Dougie Fisher? Right? You guys like Fisher, right? Like he's pretty No. All right. Well,
I'll
that
put this way.
there.
I think Dougie has fine boxing opinions, but Dougie and me do not get along personally.
All right, put that aside. Just as a personality,
Yeah.
is it his hair? It's his hair, right? That hair is awful. Is that what
no, man. Dougie's friends with like Michael Montero and Steve Kim and like that group, and I'm not friends with that group at all.
Okay.
Yeah, he's guilty by association, Gary.
No. They are a clique, so they run as a clique, man. And Montero and Kim hate me, so Dougie Fisher does not like me. Like we interviewed him live on the Name Redacted show for the Triple G Marty Rosen fight, and Dougie Fisher never looked at me, and I never asked him a question. And we're sitting literally right next to each other. It was more awkward than Canelo Oscar.
I would have asked him questions just to make it more awkward. Hey, how's the kids? How's it going?
I don't care. I don't care enough.
I like to make things as awkward as possible.
If it was early in the show, maybe. But again, we were with Chivas Regal. Like we were like it was different. It was different at the time. But digressing, let's move on to another card of the weekend. Earlier in the day, though, probably the other marquee event of the weekend, at least for maybe across the pond. Katie Taylor picking up her second divisional championship against Christina Linar-2. And Felix Cash pick up a good win against Jack Cullen. One of those fights that's going to be lost in the shuffle of the weekend. Go watch that fight. Really good fight. But again, just because there's so much that happened this weekend, that's going to get lost in the shuffle. I recommend watching that. Terry Harper defeating Vivian Obanov. I was close. Anthony Corolla getting a very razor-close win against Frank Ungunga. I'm not going to try that. Martin Bacoli Alunga versus Rodney Hernandez. Martin Bacoli obviously won via TKO. And then that's about it for what I remember seeing, to be honest. Rob, you can take over. This is your beat. I'm here to listen and learn.
Start me off.
Make it. I will say this. Make it semi-quick though.
Yeah, Bacoli, I think he's massive confidence growing behind him, and I think potentially a problem on his day. He's going to be a problem for some of the bigger name guys in the division. Not necessarily the guys, but the.
So what do you mean? Like who? What guys?
Like I think it'd be in fun fights with like the Chisoras. I think a fun fight with a Michael Hunter again going forward. You know, a rematch of that. You know, and these next tiers and just see where he goes. I think he picks his shots well. I think he mixes up his pace. You know, like he'll maybe tap and then throw in a big shot and then mixing it up head and body. When he decides to stand and really give it some, he looks like he's got heavy thudding punches. But yeah, I think there's a lot of confidence growing behind him, and interested to see where he goes. Who else? Yeah, Jack Cullen and Felix Cash. That was a great fight. People, like you say, Matt, that will probably, unless you watched it, it's not something that a lot of people are going to maybe go back to look for. But that was a real fun fight. Felix Cash came out of the blocks and right when Matt said, "Let's go, Jack Cullen," he got dropped to the canvas and he looked like this is game over. Like Cash was going to go in at the end just to finish the guy off at the end of the first round. But Cullen, to his credit, he dug in. He made a real fight of it, and he got his own successes at times. But Cash's quality and I'd say is like accuracy and the crispness of his shots eventually took Jack Cullen apart, and he got a good finish. So yeah, a sort of almost like a breakout moment for Felix Cash, and I think Cullen comes away with sort of good press as well, kind of from it. Despite a loss and maybe looked a little, wasn't quite at that level maybe, but he came out of it in good stead. But who else? Hopey Price made his debut. People maybe want to check him out. He was just getting it all together, but it's a 4-round fight, a bit of a sprint, and I think he's going to be a guy that maybe a 6-rounder, an 8-rounder, or whatever. You'll see definitely the better of him. But yeah, looks good with David Caldwell. We'll do Crawler next, I think, because I think Katie Taylor, although it was Crawler's last dance, Katie Taylor was the main event, even though she was second from last. But Crawler, yeah, he said it himself, and we could see it at home watching, that he has made 100% the right decision to walk away now. He just, despite talks of fantastic camp and teammates saying he's looked fantastic in camp and like they can't understand, but you could see this guy, in Crawler's heyday, this guy wouldn't have, I don't think would have done too much with Crawler. Crawler would have easily done it. He looked like the hand speed wasn't there. I don't know. It just wasn't there, and he knew it, and he got some very generous scorecards, to say the least, on his final night. And people saying, "Oh, it was Crawler's last fight. It doesn't really matter." And he's like, "No, it does. This guy's got the other guy's got a career going forwards. If he'd have got the win over Crawler, that would have meant something to him. That would have meant something rankings wise, and he maybe would have got another good, big sort of fight coming off the back of this." And I think it was Andy Lee said it, and I hope it's sort of true that Eddie gets this guy another fight, because he was very gracious. Held Crawler's hands up and told the crowd, "There's your guy. He done well." Blah blah blah. But he kind of left like, "What the fuck? I won that fight," or way did I think one card had Crawler by 6 rounds and another one had Crawler by 4, and I think the other one was a draw. But yeah, that was very sort of fortuitous on his last fight to come away with the win there. But he got the big reception and the fanfare and everything like that. So thank you, Anthony Crawler, for sort of a real good sort of story in boxing. He tough fights early on in your career, took losses, come back and ended up becoming a world champion and defended it, and then took on like the Linareses and the Lomas. But yeah, he's definitely gone out at the right time.
I agree with that entirely. I mean, sorry, from watching the fight that I did, I mean, Corolla he looked old. Like you can tell, like, it was time. He
knew after 4 rounds. He said himself.
Yeah,
I knew after 4 for that.
Obviously, I think I even said before the fight, I kind of wish he fought someone that we kind of knew a little bit for his last fight. I think I mentioned. Looking back on it, glad he didn't, because I think he would have got hurt, to be honest. Like it would have been, it would have been bad probably.
He might have had like a Joe Gallagher throwing a towel in or something like that. You don't want that on your, you know what I mean?
What do you think he does post fight? Does he have can he do media? Could he do Sky Sports media?
He's been sort of co-commentator kind of, or cut to the talking heads. After a fight, he's part of the
like the 4 guys standing up.
Just out of the ring there. He's also got I think management and training. He's got a couple of youngsters he's sort of mentoring and things like that. So he is 100% going to be in the sport still going forward. So, and I'm sure alongside Joe Gallagher or in that gym or doing his own thing. But yeah, he's definitely in there. But yeah, I guess we'll move on to Katie Taylor. Matt has his own opinion of this, but he's told me to talk about it. So for me, Taylor, clear winner.
Talk about it. No, I didn't tell you to talk about it.
Huh?
Well, wait, I don't even know what you're talking about yet. I'm gonna let
you go. But this is your card. You talk about it.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you meant just the Taylor fight, because we have different opinions about this Taylor fight.
Yeah. Well, you go with yours then, because you can beat the bad guy straight away.
I will say this. This was a really fun, entertaining scrap. And Katie Taylor, obviously, I think showed that she was the better boxer. Clearly won the fight, right? Like, don't get me wrong here. She won the fight. However, this was a tough fight for her. This was a competitive fight throughout, in my opinion. This is one where she has to adapt and had to sort of get through things. And in my opinion, I think this fight is evident that she struggles with forward pressure. Because we've seen now in several fights that somebody that can just sort of ignore her technique and be a little bit of a brute when it comes to boxing, just march forward, they can cause Katie Taylor to act a little more erratic with her movement, with her technique, to get a little more unraveled, so to speak. She can still win fights in that way, but it does affect her. She's not a perfect back foot boxer in a way. That is, to me, not her forte. I think she is far better coming forward and throwing combinations and working behind the jab, to be quite honest. I think she can be the back foot, use lateral movement, work counter. She obviously can. She has the ability. She's talented enough. But I think that's not what she wants to do. I think it's evident when we see people pressure her. I don't know what that's indicative of other than she struggles with pressure. I'm not saying that she's, now not the top 2, women's boxer in the world. My point is that just needs to be adjusted for in camp. Whether or not within her camp, or a new camp, new coach, new ideas, new eyes in, whatever it may be, I think there's clearly an issue right there with pressure and pressure fighters. Whether it's a game plan issue, I think that's probably what it is, or something else, I don't know. But I do think she struggles with forward pressure and like a real aggressive fighter. Not that she can't beat them, but that she struggles with them more so than others. If she fought, let's say, a really slick boxer, I think she would actually do better because she's more than likely a better boxer than everyone else. Again, that's sort of my thoughts on the fight. Katie Taylor, still really fun fight, good performance, but I expected her to be more definitive in this win, and she wasn't. And that, to me, is indicative of several things.
Yeah, I just don't agree on the game plan thing. You took to Twitter and was all.
I emphasized more about. I think she likes game plans. She likes backup game plans per se.
But I thought the game plan that they had was working perfectly fine. She was getting pressed, sure, but she was making her miss a lot. She was getting her own shots off. Yeah, she got caught a couple of times, but it's fighting, and she sometimes likes to stand and get into a bit of a war. And that's just Katie Taylor. That's the Irish in her, and I just think she, off the back foot, she was jumping in and out, getting her shots off, getting back out of range, and she made Obanov miss a lot, I felt. And I had no issue with the game plan. Sure, I knew this Obanov was going to be bringing it, and she just wasn't skilled enough to make her pressure count.
Not Obanov. Lenard too.
Oh, sorry, Lenard too. Yeah,
mix up women's fights. It's okay.
I'll forget. Yeah, we'll talk quickly on Terry Harper. But for me, she just wasn't at the level that Katie Taylor is, and I think Katie Taylor showed her boxing skills. And while it was fun and she was getting pressed, I thought she still handled it sort of fine enough. And you might be right. I mean, we saw her Pursoon putting it on her and coming forward.
This is a point I want to bring up. Also, in the context that this was a lesser opponent than Pursoon, and a person that lost to Pursoon. I know boxing math doesn't work all the time, but this was a person on paper that was not as skilled as Pursoon, was on the level of other fighters that Katie Taylor's beat, and Katie Taylor struggled with her. I think that's, again, due to that aggressive pressure of Menard too, and that's just something that she has to work on, like that, because she isn't the heaviest hitter. Like, let's be honest, Katie Taylor doesn't pack a lot of power with her punches. So people that press her are going to find success because they can walk through some of those shots. She's going to have to just adjust to certain things. Maybe add some different combinations. Look at, again, game plan for more specific fighters. Say, this person likes to throw these 3 combinations all the time. Let's work on how to adjust, how to evade these shots. Just certain things in camp that I think she can adjust on that are slight adjustments to make her more dominant in these wins against, honestly, people that she should be a little more dominant against.
I wanted to, and I didn't watch this fight yet. I haven't gotten to this card yet. I was going to watch it this morning, but then I read that Katie Taylor dominated the fight, and you guys saying that's not really true. That's not really the case. That was a good competitive fight.
It was a good competitive fight. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this fight.
But you knew who won. Like, Katie Taylor clearly won, but it was a good scrap.
Katie Taylor, I thought, clearly was ahead by at least a round or two. But like,
that close? Okay.
Yeah, but like it's a 10-round fight because it's women's boxing. Unfortunately, it's not a 12-rounder. But I thought she won, a 6-4 decision, maybe a 7-3, but it was competitive throughout.
Okay, well, I'm going to go back and watch it. See, I didn't think, like, she wasn't a puncher at 35. So moving up, like, she's not going to – I don't like her moving up. And I get it. Like, if she wants bigger fights, she has to move up in weight, and that's just kind of the dynamic of women's boxing. But like, I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of old school. Just fight in your weight class. I mean, I guess they have to. It's their career. They have to make money. They want the biggest fight. So I can't tell her not to move up. I don't think the bigger weight classes really fit her well. But I hadn't watched the fight, so I'll go in and watch it.
Sorry, Gary, if you're continuing, my bad.
No, that was my only thought on that. I wanted to get into the Crowler fight as well.
Go for it, Gary.
Rob,
Oh.
did you shed a tear? I mean, did you all those amazing victories that Crowler had over like Gavin Reese and John Murray and Darlise Perez, like?
But don't forget Barroso.
I don't even know who that is. That's who he made his defense against, right?
Yes.
Before he fought
You do know who it is.
Barroso, I mean, all these and the losses, the Gary Sykes, both of them, the loss to Darlise Perez, you have a big montage for him. I mean, how did it hit you?
Yeah, it got me, Gary. It got me.
The Sykes losses, because we talk about Ali, Frazier, we talk about Holyfield, Bo, we talk about Crowler, Gary Sykes in that breath. So I wanted to see how it impacted you. And Deary Matthews, when Deary Matthews beat him, and then he came back and fought Matthews to a draw. I mean, how big was this? I mean, and what kind of tribute did we pay to this amazing career of a B+ fighter?
You're just straight hate. I'm
not. I like him.
I don't even want to address you right now, Gary, because you're just being a horrible person right now.
Did they show a highlight reel of both of his knockouts too?
Gary, it's just straight hate.
I actually like Anthony Crowler. I really
do.
Don't. No, I do.
Don't. No, you don't.
Oh my God, I'm crying, guys. This was so
when
good.
when you were on Name Redacted and Name Redacted was making fun of him for beating Jordan. I was like, I thought he looked really good. Like, I think the Burns fight he looked good in. I think he looked good in the Jordan fight. I mean, he's not going to beat Loma, but I don't think that fight's ridiculous now. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's skilled, right? I think he's a good fighter, but he is what he is. It's like it's getting broken up because
Gary, it's
Rashi Warren's retiring. Oh no, we're gonna miss Rashi Warren. It's like he's a good fighter.
That's what I mean, Gary. You don't. It's different for you guys over there. I don't know. It just is. This is just. I don't know. I can't explain.
You commit to me, and you get a piece of my heart, and you get my commitment. I'm gonna make you a star, motherfucker.
That's what the UK fans say to all the fighters.
But for me, you just don't get. You don't know the story of all your guys that you got over there. I don't know.
Well, we do sometimes. We just don't cry over it.
Sometimes, but we see these guys. We get Collar got fucking bashed over the head with a concrete fucking cinder block, and he's just a nice guy as well. How many boxers can you say in America are nice guys? I don't know any.
A lot.
Jamel Herring, and Herring's got a great story. He's a he's current world champ, soon to be former world champ.
Yeah, he's a Marine.
And when his career is over, I'm not going to be broken down in tears. He's a good guy, and I hope him the best.
We've established this, Gary. You have no heart. You got a stone in your teeth.
Matt had no heart, right?
He was just crying about Collar. You just saw him. He was emotional.
Yeah, I was crying. That's for sure, over something.
I don't know. I just don't get how sporting moments. I'm not gonna get
tragic sporting moment
or something like that. I'm not gonna get. I'm sure you weren't either because we've established you're a robot. But a big Joe Montana story or
whoever,
it's not going to mean much to us over here.
But Rob, you don't need to make that comparison because we've already said, hey, we've brought up athletes in our hometown that we've watched our entire lives. They've retired. We don't cry. It has to be a tragic story to make me cry. And somebody retiring isn't tragic to me. That's just that's a part of life.
Go on, have a good life.
And honestly, in most cases in combat sports, it's honestly something that we kind of want at the end of it. When a fighter gets to that point where they do retire, usually they've been beaten up to the point where they have to quit, and we've been begging them to retire. Okay, I just don't think that it's retiring is not an emotional thing. For fans, for me.
Well, look, I'm not saying
for the fighter it is, but not for me.
I'm not saying the Manchester Arena was in danger of flooding because of the fucking amount of tears. All right, I'm just saying it's emotional. people might get a little bit like, oh, this is a bit choked up. You've changed it into full flood, like floods of tears. Everyone
well, Rob, you did say cry.
Hugging.
You did ask us. We did in the last video. You guys can check it out. It's clipped out for everything.
Yeah.
I think the title is "Have Sports Ever Made You Cry?" Gary trolling Rob. LOL is the name of the video.
Yeah.
I want to say, Rob, you're the one that brought up crying, not us. Like you're the one that said, like, have sports never made you cry? And so that is where this topic.
And what the answer was a straight no from both of you.
Not in the context that you were giving us. No.
Maybe the Easter Bartholomew fight made me cry, but that was like different,
And we brought up examples where we did cry. People dying.
Yeah.
People like getting severely hurt and injured, and we've watched it live, but not somebody that has a great story and has a good career and then retiring. That's good. That's a good story.
It's just a nation of people with more guns than people. So
Matt's a Lakers fan, right? Like he grew up, he watched Kobe Bryant his whole career. He probably didn't know the Lakers without Kobe Bryant.
Agreed,
right?
Yes.
Like, and Kobe Bryant retired. Matt, I mean, could you get out of bed the next week? Like, and that's Kobe Bryant. Like,
I was happy. I was happy he retired. He was, an older guy. He had a ton of injuries. Had a good last game. We scored 60 points. We were all hyped. We were clapping in the room and we were watching the game. All my buddies. It wasn't
Kobe
sad.
Bryant to basketball is not like an analogy like Crawler to boxing. Right? It's not the same. Kobe's one of the five greatest players of all time.
When
Crawler's not one of the 500 greatest fighters of all time.
When we all got the news 3 years ago that Muhammad Ali died, I cried because Muhammad Ali is one of like my idols. For God's sake, I cried then. But not, not other times when people retire and stuff or people get awards. No, it's a good thing. I'm clapping.
Thank you.
I'm clapping. I'm not crying. It's clapping. It's more of a happy emotion.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, C3PO and R2D2 for your contribution.
Rob, we say that we are emotional, but it's a happy emotion. It's the inverse.
No, I get it. I'm just. No, that's cool.
No, we're very emotional. We're just happy. You guys in the UK, it's all gloomy there because the clouds and the rain. That's just a sadder bunch of people. We're happier here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get out of that cloudy, rainy, and come to the sunny places like where me and Matt live.
Yes.
Yeah, we're the 47th fattest state in America.
We're getting healthy. We were 48th last year. Now we're 47th. We're getting
Rob.
fit, Rob.
Improvement, Rob. Hashtag
maybe next year 46th. We don't know.
But anyway, Katie Taylor didn't struggle, doesn't need a new coach, and
she did struggle.
Shout out to Anthony Crawler.
Everyone in the chat agreed that she was a competitive fight and she had to work for it. Digressing from that. Let's talk about Katie Taylor still though, but next fight, because obviously it's come out now from Eddie Hearn that the next fight for Katie Taylor is probably going to be a pay-per-view.
Whoa. I've got to bring this back. PSK, please remind Gary that Crawler won a legit WBA strap, unlike his boy Barry.
Did he win a legit one?
Yeah. He was.
No, he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
WBA.
Was it a vacant belt though?
Huh?
Was it?
Yes.
I
think so.
Because did Crawford move up? Was that the time difference when Crawford moved up and then like Linares and Corella moved in?
I think so. Rob?
I don't care. He won a legit strap.
Oh, he was
He's not out there masquerading.
And he defended it against a guy I never heard of. So, and then he lost it. So,
it's a guy that was overrated. Moving on. Katie Taylor. Oh, sorry. Did you have any other point about the undercard, Rob?
Terry Harper, great performance against Obanov, and looks like we've got Michaela Mayer getting all stressy because Eddie Hearns sorted Terry Harper out and Eva Wallstrom world title fight. So it's Terry Harper on her birthday. Shout out to her, happy birthday! Really good performance. Thought she was going to get the stoppage at one point, but she boxed really well. She looks good.
Moving on. Eddie Hearn has declared that Katie Taylor... Well, because I didn't see the fight, Rob. I can't have an opinion about a fight I didn't see.
Okay.
Well, I'm not... It wasn't the Sayat that. It was the Sayat, the chat. Everyone So hilarious. UK is really mad at Gary right now for making jokes. All of a sudden, you guys can't take the banter.
Right, he was the champion, by the way.
All of his sensational victories over Murray and
then
Gavin Reese and Darlius Perez. I mean, all those.
And then Leonard, who did Darlius Perez win his championship off of? Was that a vacant belt? That had to be eventually a vacant belt.
How far back do we go?
Well, again, first off, Darlius Perez was never even a top 5 lightweight. The fact that he got a belt is sad. So it had to be for a vacant belt, and I would assume it was from the Crawford departure of the division.
But not bad from what was it, a B+ fighter to do what he did.
Wait, hold on. Time out. Who said Crow was B+?
I
did. He's not B+. Stop. Like, that's being too generous. Sorry, Gary.
I have a big B+ range. Like, if you're not an A, I give you a B+. I mean,
and like, there's a long amount of people that B+.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I'm a generous grader once we get out of the A department.
A lot of these motherfuckers are B's and B-. Just accept it, and that's fine. But yeah, that's just the god honest truth. Eddie Hearn has declared that that he believes Katie Taylor will headline a Sky Sports pay-per-view show in 2020, and he's named Amanda Serrano, Cecilia Barakas, and Defon Pursoon rematch as the 3 possible fights to do so. Now, Rob, I have 2 questions for you because obviously this is more of a UK market topic because it's UK pay-per-view, potentially all that stuff. I want your opinion about it more so than ours because it's more valid. I've seen a little bit of a negative reaction, not a little bit. I've seen actually a very large negative reaction to the idea that this being pay-per-view. So I want your take on that. And then secondly, which one of these 3 names would you want to see for that pay-per-view fight?
Okay, first, that's easy. Pursoon rematch. I think people know about the first one, so that makes sense, and that's the one I'd like to see anyway. And as far as the reaction, it's kind of depressing, really. The reaction to this. One guy put out like this to 12,000 pay-per-view buys. Is pathetic or something like that. We've just had fucking Lomachenko here, the guy we've just been arguing about whether pound for pound #1 or whatever with certain people in the chat, and he could muster 200,000 buys with another gold medalist, Luke Campbell, unifying titles, which was a vacant one, by the way. So we don't count that one. But yeah, he managed to get like 200,000 buys, $25 pay-per-view. And I just think, why are we not trying to encourage this? I think with a good card underneath it, it can do just as many numbers for me. The Manchester Arena, a lot of women bought tickets for Katie Taylor. I'm getting a load of feedback in my
I know. Robert, I just back out and refresh. Just refresh. Let's do that really fast.
I'll be back very quick.
Very quick. But as Rob is doing that really quick, I will say this: Defon Pursoon, I obviously want that rematch. But from a pure money standpoint, I don't know if that's the right matchup per se. Rob, hold on 1 second as I fix your shit. Gary, go.
Because you said you wanted the Pursoon rematch. That's the fight you'd want to see. That's the fight I'd want to see too. Because I think the wrong person won the fight. It was a good fight, and I think the wrong person won, so I want to see it again. I mean, do you think there's a bigger money pay-per-view fight, one that would do more over there? I guess it's a better question for Rob, but I'd like to hear what both of you have to say. I thought that would be the biggest money fight. You guys think not?
I think so. That's part of the reason I said that one.
But see, Rob, you jumped out and jumped back in. What I said when you were jumping in now is I disagreed slightly on Pursoon, not from a competitive standpoint, from a business standpoint. Like, I don't know if Pursoon's the fight that you want to make pay-per-view. Isn't Barakas a bigger fight? Isn't Serrano a bigger fight from a money standpoint and from a promotional standpoint as well? Like, you can promote Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano better than you can Pursoon, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm thinking from more of a U.S.-centric mind, and that's very possible, obviously.
I think so, yeah.
But to me, like, those are just bigger matchups on paper from a drawing potential. Barakas is a far bigger European draw than Pursoon as well. I don't know if that's the biggest pay-per-view fight, but it is the fight that I want to see the most out of those 3, obviously. Like, I want some answers from that first fight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how well Serrano is known here outside of hardcores, you know. because remember we're talking women's boxing, so
yeah, but she was
there's
promoted.
hardcores, and then there's hardcores that really know the women's game as well. So
She was promoted though by Sky through the what card was it? Wasn't she?
Heather Hardy.
Yeah, wasn't that fight on Sky?
It was on Sky because it was a DAZN card, you know. So
Was it a Matchroom card?
Right?
It was so
Matchroom USA. So we get the late show. So how many people watch that? I don't know here, but I just think Pursuing with the built-in story that she was on the it was on the Joshua undercard. I think that just makes a lot more sense. And there's that element of controversy about it. Some saw Pursuing winning, some saw a draw, some saw Katie Taylor maybe. And yeah, I think it can be built into look, I'm not saying this she's not going to touch like fucking Joshua numbers or anything like that,
of
but
course, no, we understand.
when we've just seen, like I say, Lomachenko do 200,000 buys, just over 200,000 buys. I think pro grade Taylor was reported to be about 220, 230 thousand buys. Yeah, I don't see this 12,000. This guy on Twitter was saying, or whatever it'll be. I don't know. But what if it is? Why not? Why are we not trying? Katie Taylor's proven to be a draw. She's proven to have great support. People coming from Ireland and all over the UK as well to be at Manchester Arena. And I don't see why you don't give this a go. He's putting on fucking KSI Logan Paul. Why can't we give possibly the biggest name in women's boxing a pay-per-view as well? I just think I would have no issue in paying my £20 to watch Katie Taylor and Pursuing Part 2. I think that's under the radar. The first one as one of the fights of the year as well.
You have to load the undercard, right? But let's say you put Joan O'Carroll on the undercard, get another Irish guy. But if you gave a good undercard and had Katie Taylor headliner, I think it's
I mean, depending where you put it, you obviously get the local guys that you know are going to sell well. Maybe like if it's in London, you get a Conor Benn on there. He does good tickets and things like people like that. In maybe Conor Benn will be going for like a British title or something along those lines. But yeah, you do a good, because look, if this was like a Dillian White versus someone pay-per-view, Dillian White's commanding like what, 4 or 5 million pounds or something for his fight or whatever it is. But if you got a Katie Taylor, she's not tipping the scale, the money scale that way. So you've got more maybe potentially to pay for a good undercard, whereas normally you max out maybe on a main event and a co-main, and then you may be struggling a little bit to pay the undercard fighters. But this would, whatever you budget for it, you potentially got more money to spread across the card. So I think it could be made via the whole card into a decent pay-per-view. And like I say, a UK price of £20 or $25, it's not really hurting anybody too much. I know people like to jump on Twitter and complain as soon as any pay-per-view gets made over here, but yeah,
I feel like there haven't really been as many UK pay-per-views this year as last year too, to be honest, but maybe a different topic for a different day. I think we're all in agreement here that like Pursuing would be a really fun fight. We all kind of want that. And also, why not experiment with a Katie Taylor pay-per-view? Like you say, she is a decent draw in the UK, especially comparative to even her male counterparts. Like, let's be honest. Like, who's a bigger draw, her or Josh Kelly or Anthony Fowler or, guys of that ilk? Obviously, she is, right? And then even compared to maybe champions like, or close to champions like Luke Campbell and other people of that nature, right? She's clearly a better draw than they are.
I'd say like a Callum Smith.
Yes. I would agree absolutely with that. Yes, agreed. I think she's a bigger draw than Callum Smith. Maybe not like a Josh Warrington, but that would be comparable.
I mean, Warrington's on like almost a Ricky Hatton type thing. He's got like an entire, Leeds and the Yorkshire area right behind him there, which is what I was trying to get to about with Crawler. He's like he came off the back of like a Ricky Hatton, but Katie Taylor. I mean, like I say, that place was rammed full for her fight against Pursuing in Madison Square Garden. that's when it really started to fill out. I feel on the Joshua card, they all came out and you could hear the women in the crowd, you could hear people, and it really filled out in Madison Square Garden. And then they were out to watch Katie Taylor before the Crawler fight. So yeah, I just don't see why you can't experiment with this. And
to your point, Rob, they will definitely make it a deep undercard here, a deep main card as well. Like, it's going to be a stacked pay-per-view in my opinion, because the budget's not going to be all put in the main event. That means they can use it, like you said, for other fights, the co-main event. Expect, bigger UK names and matchroom names to be on this card. Like, as we mentioned, Luke Campbell, Derek Chisora, Joseph Parker. Like, expect some of these guys to end up on this pay-per-view.
I don't know about telling Derek Chisora you're on the undercard of Katie Taylor when he didn't even want to
say some wild shit. Oh my god.
Oh my god! Imagine picking up the table, launching at Katie or some shit. Oh, I think she'd still come forward.
Maybe just do like Joseph Parker versus someone and not Chisora.
Yeah,
Luke Campbell versus someone.
No one gives a shit about the little guys. Who gives a fuck about that? You fucking with no Vaseline.
Put Charlie Edwards on there too. Like, just stack the card. That's what I would do. Moving on though, let's Gary, any last thoughts on Katie Taylor's next pay-per-view fight, or just next fight period?
No, we can go to the next topic.
Walkout Network, aka Anthony Walker, who joined me last night for the live fight chat, saying, I know I'm late, but Kovalev was about to get robbed. Canelo saved us from losing our shit again about subject judging. Yeah, I agree with you, though. It does seem like there's a lot of people that did have it close or Canelo winning, which is, man, I've watched it several times now. I don't know what people are seeing and thinking that Canelo was ahead on the scorecards. But digressing, let's go to the Miguel Berchelt fight on ESPN, defeating Jason Sosa via KO in the 4th round. This was one-way traffic for most of the fight. Jason Sosa did land some good shots here and there, but it was clear that there was a technical and power difference between these two. Miguel Berchelt was levels above Jason Sosa and got him out there rather quickly in a fun little 4-rounder. I did not see the Alex Acedo versus Rod Salka fight. I did not see the Javier Molina fight versus Hiroki Okada. And the Ancajas fight got canceled, right?
I think so.
I don't know why. I forget why it got canceled, but that got canceled. I don't know why it was, but it was. But yeah, not a lot to really say about this card because Miguel Berchelt fought a tune-up that was a top 15 guy, and we all knew that stylistically he should get him out of there in a fun fight, but he got him out of there in 4 rounds in a fun fight that was just only 4 rounds. Guys, any thoughts on this performance from Miguel Berchelt?
I thought Berchelt looked really, really good. He's going to be tough for anyone because you could see he's not just – I mean, he's an awesome pressure fighter. Like, he's one of the best pressure fighters in the sport today. But he's adding more to his game. Like, he can box a little bit from the outside. His defense is getting better. He is huge for a 130-pounder. I don't know how much longer he can stay there. But if he does, if I had to pick someone to beat Loma out of around those weight classes, I still think it's him. Not saying I think he does beat him, but
I understand. I don't know if I agree with that yet, but I mean, obviously, the guy is just a monster. I mean, he really is, and he does seem like a gigantic 130-pounder. He has to move up to 135 soon. Maybe you angle for like a Leo Santa Cruz fight after the Oscar fight, or maybe just go right up after Oscar Valdez. Probably, I think that's probably what he does.
He destroys Valdez in your mind, right?
Oh yeah. It's one-way traffic, and it's going to be an ugly, nasty fight because Berchelt's going to really hurt him, in my opinion.
Can we give a shout-out to Jason Sosa, too? Can we get air horns for him? Because he had some balls enough. He was getting tattooed. He kept coming forward.
And to his credit, he was landing shots on Miguel
Berchelt. He landed some good shots, absolutely.
And obviously, Berchelt, not really the defensive wizard, not surprising, but, he was landing shots. It was clear it was not having any desired effect. I think we can move on because there's not a lot to talk about with that card. And plus, there was literally no one in attendance for that card.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. Like, did they have a number? Because
I have not seen a number yet. I think there was 12 people in attendance.
And probably half of those were comped, right?
and their family members of the
Quick
fighters.
on attendance, I think Keith Idex said, was it just shy of 15,000 and now?
Oh,
Was
for
it
Canelo.
official attendance or something? I don't know.
Yeah, well, MGM's smaller too, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
Around that number. Let's move on to the last card of the weekend, and we're gonna head over. I think probably we're just gonna end the show after this, and then take callers. Obviously, so don't worry, callers, stay there, callers. But I think we're gonna do news tomorrow because we've done 2 hours on just fights. Sorry, Chavez, not gonna be your day today. Or we have Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. We have actually a few topics I wanted to get to, but we're gonna push them off for tomorrow. Javier Fortuna. Defeating Jesus Cuellar via just dominant KO in the second round. I mean, gosh, Cuellar was just way too small for this guy. And then the fight that I really want to talk about, I know Gary wants to talk about in some aspect, is Brian Castano versus Wally Armatosa. Again, one of those sleeper fights on a sleeper card, too, that no one watched probably. Go back and watch this fight. Similar to the Jack Cullen and Felix Cash fight. Go back and watch that one. Go back and watch this fight. Because Brian Castano, he clearly, in my opinion, isn't the... I don't think he's going to be the Hall of Famer, so to speak. But the guy, I think, is definitely going to pick up a championship in his career. Definitely going to give all these guys issues. The way he just stalked Armatosa and through combination after combination, the cardio of Castano was off the charts. And again, the combination work from him was incredible. I want to see him versus Munguia so bad. That fight has Fight of the Year written on it, and Castano should win that one easily. Bananarama also stitching back to our last talk about Ancajas and his opponent. There was visa issues. That's why that fight was canceled. And he's saying right now, Castano versus Laura 2, please. I'm not opposed to that fight, but I do think Laura is in line for J-Rock. So that's why we won't get a Castano rematch. Castano, in the meantime, though, hey, you're not a big name. Go get a belt. Go, if you're PBC Al Heyman, go call up Golden Boy right now and offer the bag. Get him a belt. Because he will whoop Munguia's ass, and that'll be a fun fight, too. And Castano, he's a guy that I think is going to move up to 160 soon as well. He's going to have a good career there. I'm really high on Brian Castano. I mean, he showed a really good performance against Edgeline Laura, but it was one of those performances where we were like, man, this is a lot from a guy that we haven't seen enough of. Let's see the next fight to really get a clearer picture on whether this was a fluke or not, that performance. It's not a fluke. This guy is clearly a top 10 junior middleweight, and he's on his way to the top 5 quickly, in my opinion. Gary,
I think there's guys in the top 5 offensively. He is so complete, right?
Yes.
Like you saw him jabbing upstairs, jabbing downstairs, throwing combinations, getting on the inside, jabbing his way on the inside, and then unleashing. I mean, and then he's got like heavy thudding punches on the inside. Like offensively, he is complete. Now, like there's a couple of things I'd want to like. He doesn't move his head enough. There's not enough head movement. That could be a problem.
Yes.
I don't know who's training him. Is he still trained by whoever trained him in Argentina?
I would assume so.
I'd like to get him in with like a premier trainer, work on some head movement. Because I think offensively, and I think he's there. Like, this is going to sound like, I think he beats Jamel Charlo. I think Jamel Charlo takes too many big shots, and he would take...
Hot take Sunday over here. Holy shit.
Yeah, I want to see him fight Hearn. That's the. I mean, that wouldn't be for a belt, but just as a fan, Munguia would be fun too. But I think he beats Munguia. I think he beats guys like Adames. I'd like to see him fight Hearn. Like, I like to see those two guys stand in the center of the ring and beat each other up and see.
The second you said that, I want that fight now. Like, I need that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, no other fight in the division matters for me. I want that fight. That is. I mean, tell me that's not a potential like all-time classic fight. Like, Castano's offense is so gifted and talented, and just he packs so much power, and the cardio, like he has the complete package offensively. And Jared Hurd, one of the best inside fighters we've seen lately. And Castano, I don't think he has the boxing ability like J-Rock to turn him and stuff like that. They would just meet in the center and exchange in the pocket till one of them goes down. I need that in my veins.
But there's a lot of fun fights at him for 54, and I think he could win a lot of, like, the way you've seen Charlo Jamel Charlo get touched up, and the way you've seen guys get on the inside with them, don't you think that would be a disastrous fight for Jamel Charlo? Not that he couldn't win, but you can certainly see a path in which Castano stops Jamel Charlo, right?
I'll put it this way: the Charlo that we've seen lately, yes. The Charlo that we saw 2 or 3 years ago, no. But I've been on record saying that I think the Charlos have digressed for some reason in skill set. So,
I thought Jamel always had major defensive issues, always.
I always thought he was a good boxer. I always thought he didn't pack the power of Jamal. That was always the narrative, right? But I thought he was the better boxer than Jamal for a long time. But I think both guys have digressed in a lot of ways. I mean, Castano could beat all these guys. I mean, you're absolutely right. Maybe he does. He might, because he's that powerful. He's that much of just a bulldozer. I mean, Laura stylistically and maybe J-Rock are probably the two guys who are the toughest for him in the division, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think Tony Harrison. The more I think about it, the more I probably think that Tony Harrison or Jamel Charlo would have a really rough night with Brian Castano. More so than, let's say, again, Laura and J-Rock stylistically. Rob, I'm assuming you did not watch this one because it was not shown in the UK. Though I will say, yeah, I'll try to find Daily Motion for you because I know you won't care to do it. But this is one that if I send you the link, watch it. It's a great fight. Again, Castano is a guy that he's going to beat somebody. I don't know what degree of somebody, but he's going to beat somebody. Absolutely.
Yeah. So has he now got the belt that he vacated back? What was the?
It was a WBA regular. I don't know.
It was the Intercontinental. Who cares?
Okay.
Just going down the route that he vacated, basically, didn't he?
He fought
with. He didn't want to go to purse bids with
Laura for a rematch, right?
I don't remember this, to be honest, guys.
Another dude won the purse bid, and he was like, "Nah, fuck that, I'm not doing it," or some shit. But no, he seems good because I do like him, but yeah, I just need more hours in the day. You know, you guys just got an extra hour in bed, but just all these fights, man, it's crazy. And to find them online because I can't, you get you get box office cards on ESPN, but we don't get ESPN cards on on BT. I mean, so I don't know what the fuck. Why couldn't that deal go both ways? It's a bit annoying, but and ITV, they have just given up. If they raise their heads for Chris Eubank and Korobov, maybe they are still in the boxing business, but I just need it to be easier in this day and age. We need it easier to be able to just watch fights from wherever,
I agree. I think the whole ITV thing has been a mess. It's weird how the inverse has happened. I think 5 years ago, honestly, when there was Box Nation was a thing, right? We had this conversation the other day, Rob, right? You had it where the UK saw a lot more US shows than we saw UK shows. And now it has completely flipped, right? Now, obviously, you guys still see a lot, but we now see everything that you guys have, basically. Everything.
You seem to be getting influenced a lot because you're getting late start times for big fights. It looked like Frank Warren was involved with Golden Boy for this one, his latest one. We get some fucking Warrington wasn't in the ring the other day until fucking 11:30. But yeah, that's just UK.
All this UK boxing we get has just made me an awful college football fan. I didn't watch any college football the last 2 weeks because
it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Yeah, it's good.
I always choose boxing and
every cloud. Just watch the elite, not the B+ footballers. Yeah.
Anyways, guys, let's go to callers because we've been here for a while. Hold on.
Yeah, it's midnight gone.
Yes, we have 2 callers. Let's go out to Santiago in the 808 area code. Let's go out to Santiago first, though, because he's been on longer. Sorry, 808. Just hold on, man. Make Santiago fast. Santiago, what's up, man? Quick thoughts on all the action from the weekend.
All right, well, I got to catch up on Showbox. I pretty much managed to see the ESPN card, so that's kind of like a whodunit at that point. Still need to catch up on FS1. But overall, though, it was a hell of a weekend of fighting. Definitely an exceptionally stacked day of boxing. I had at least 2 to 3 DVR recordings going on at that moment. You already know I had UFC 244 on my laptop, DAZN on my computer. So you got to imagine that it must have been a very, very crazy day for me. I basically stayed home from noon until the fights ended. And, again, I said it in my immediate reaction call that I feel like at this point, Canelo had his Chavez moment. He's pretty much a legend in his own right at this point, as far as I'm concerned. I might be tooting his horn a little, but let this bear this in mind that I have never been the biggest Canelo fan, and if anything, I was a bigger Sergey Kovalev fan entering this fight. So I do not say that stuff lightly. I do think it was an impressive showing for him. And I look forward to seeing what he does for himself moving forward at this point, whether he decides to have maybe a one-off with Gilberto Ramirez at 175, which he should be able to win easily, in my opinion. 168 gets a tune-up, and then maybe takes on Callum Smith. Goes down to 160, settles it all with Triple G, and probably stops him too, to pretty much put an end to that trilogy. Good weekend of fights. I was having a very brief conversation with Gary about maybe someday they can do something like what the NFL does with Red Zone. That way we're not constantly switching or having to choose which fights we watch or DVR and stuff like that, because, doing what they did with UFC 244 and the Canelo Kovalev fight, I thought was nice. I thought it's crazy that they got to show that fight at the MGM, and I can imagine for anyone that was there thinking, well, you know what, I put off UFC 244 to be here, and they got to see it and still see the Canelo Kovalev fight. That's a big win, as far as I'm concerned, for the casual fan and the hard and fight combat sports fan. And you guys have been here long enough, so unless you guys have any other questions, feel free to shoot. Otherwise, that's my call.
No, go.
I wanted to ask you real quick. What did you think of Castano?
I got to catch up on that fight because I didn't get a chance to watch that fight. It was a very, 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 stacked Saturday. So I'll get back to you on that one later when it's caught up.
Definitely go watch that one. I recommend it. I mean, again, if you're out there and let's say you only watch maybe like the Canelo card, maybe like the Katie Taylor fight, maybe just the Masvidal fight in the UFC. Go and just watch the Castano fight first. I'm telling you, that was unbelievable. I might just go back and watch it right after we do this show because that was a really good fight. Go to the 808 area code. 808. Who is this? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello.
I called a few weeks ago. Alex in Hawaii.
Oh, Alex, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. You?
Doing good, man. Another day, another dollar.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to defend Rob. Davies Perez was robbed of a victory against Maurice Hooker.
Once I said that, I was like, oh, this is going to come back and bite me, because he was.
I agree with that assessment that he was robbed against Maurice Hooker. I'll also say that was a version of Maurice Hooker that did not turn the corner when we saw him do later on in his career.
Once that came out of my mind when I mocked Darlise Perez, I was like, I instantly regret saying that. That's going to come back and bite me.
I knew Alex was out there. I knew he got my back.
Yeah, and then on to Canelo. Matt's going to like this. I'm going to go from the position of Canelo not being pound for pound number one.
Okay. Make your case.
All right.
I'm going to try not to interrupt you. Have a pleasant conversation.
So it depends on what you personally choose your pound for pound. So for me, it's at the time, right now, who's showing me the X factor and who I perceive as the best. If you want to go from resume, then you've got the question of, is it resume from the past few fights, or are you talking about the whole career? Because if we're going whole career, then surely Manny Pacquiao should still be number one.
Why are we in the idea that there's only one criteria for pound? Why can't it be both those things in a weighted system where I either rate resume over skill set or skill set over resume, but both of those are in the equation for pound? Why is it one or the other?
Not necessarily it's one or the other. I guess it's what you prefer over each other.
I think resume. I put for me personally. I put resume above skill set, but they're in tandem. It's not like they're separate conversations. In pound for pound, they are.
Yeah.
It's a X plus Y equals Z equation.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I should point out as well that I'm a bit of a Canelo hater. So I think when I'm looking at skill sets, he doesn't excite me in the same way as the guys that I would have above him do, like Inoue, Lomachenko, etc. Well, just those three. And if you're going to start putting, I know obviously Canelo's got a great resume, and I would agree that he already is Hall of Famer anyway. If you're going to put an asterisk against, say, Lomachenko's best win, there are asterisks. Even though the Kovalev win was a great win, you could still say there's asterisks. He's there.
What's the asterisk over the Kovalev win?
Whereas how long ago was it he fought Yard? Like 9 weeks ago, 8 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
And you get was that right? There's a rehydration clause as well, so the standard A side.
But he's also fought for the IBF before, so it's not like a new thing.
Yeah, but in this case, was it just a side enforced rehydration?
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm not saying, obviously, you go through any fighter's career, there's asterisks. This is against most fights, but I just think if you criticise one fighter's best win for an asterisk, then you can find an asterisk against most people.
You do understand, like, the asterisks I brought up for Loma's best win, because that's the one I was referencing earlier in the show, was Guillermo Rigondeaux. That's his best win. That's the most talented fighter that Loma's ever fought. And the guy was 2 divisions smaller than him. While Canelo, maybe that would be Amir Khan, but Amir Khan's not his best win. He has much better wins. A la Sergey Kovalev last night. When he moved up 2 weight classes.
A la Triple G, yeah.
Triple G, for example, in the second fight, which is definitive.
Oh, again, I'm in the camp that wasn't sure Canelo won either of the Triple G fights. This is probably a personal bias why I wouldn't have him at the top, because I think in the past few fights he's fought great fighters.
Well, okay, Alex, I think we all sit here and we all have personal biases, but when we're talking about objective pound for pound lists, you have to somewhat put those biases aside. And I respect you for at least pointing them out, because I have biases. Like, again, I'm a Canelo fan. Right? I pointed that out in the show earlier. Like, that's a part of my bias that we have to adjust for. But to the point of being objective, you brought up that Canelo is not as skilled, because you brought up that aspect, against other guys, and you brought up a new way.
Well,
I want to say
maybe not. I mean, it doesn't excite me as much as the other ones. Maybe so. Maybe that's
so exciting. Is now a criteria. Where's exciting? Where's that rank in the criteria? Is that above? Hold on, Gary. Is that above skill set, or is that below skill set?
I don't mean. I mean exciting in the sense of showing X factor movement and the combinations I like from these other. I mean, I still have Canelo in my top 5.
So you don't think Canelo has a wider repertoire of punches than Inoue? You don't think Canelo has better head movement than Inoue? You don't think Canelo has better footwork and lateral movement than Inoue? Like, those are just, you don't see that?
It may be a thing to do with fighter size as well. I think sometimes some of the smaller guys look a bit more skillful to me. I just think maybe because they're carrying less weight, they're a lot faster. And
no, but can you answer my question? Can you answer my question, please? Do you think Inoue has better head movement, better lateral movement, has more varied punches and combinations than Canelo? You think that?
I think my issue with Canelo is the lack of not energy. Sometimes he takes a bit too much time off for me.
Okay, but you still don't answer my question. So can you please answer my question here? It's a very easy question. Do you think Inoue has better head movement, better defense, better lateral movement, more varied punch combinations? Like, any of those things, do you think Inoue is better at than Canelo? Yes or no?
Not defense. I'd say no, probably defense.
Well, I list other things too, like lateral movement, varied punching combinations or repertoire punching combinations.
I think his punching and lateral movement in that last fight, I think he shows good stuff.
So it seems like you're saying that yes, Canelo actually is better than Inoue in those categories. Okay, so we think that we agree here.
I think in offense, I prefer Inoue.
Well, you just prefer because he lands more knockouts, I'm assuming, right? Because he's exciting.
No, but I think it's the speed. This may be one of those like lower weight things where I think the speed he gets the punches off and moves around them.
But my guy, Canelo just moved up 2 weight classes and knocked out Kovalev with headshots. Everyone's talking about the body. He knocked him out with the shot up top. What are you talking about with power and speed? Did you not see Canelo's punches last night? You just agreed Canelo is better in a list of categories of skills and technique than Inoue. And you still think Inoue is pound for pound better than Canelo? What is it? Is it resume? Is it what is it? Is it just because he's exciting? Because he scores knockouts in the lighter weight classes? What is it that...
Can I make an argument for Inoue? I don't...
Better than him? I hope so.
Inoue...
His list. Fucking relax.
Inoue demolishes people. Canelo beats people. Inoue blows them out like no one's even on his level, right?
Inoue has never fought the number 1 guy in his division. Ever. At 115, 118 yet, he has never fought the number 1 guy in his division.
Would you call Navarez the best guy at one?
No, at that time, no, he was not.
But he's the same way Kovalev was. He probably wasn't, but he was the longest reigning champ and the biggest name.
He was the biggest name then. Roman Gonzalez was at 115 when they fought.
Was that? Yeah, okay. All right, fair enough.
You had Estrada. You had Quadras. Come on, man. I'm sorry here. I've yet to hear an argument for Inoue being above him. You know, and maybe you want to argue Loma is a better pure boxer than Canelo. But resumes, it's easy. Canelo has a better resume than Loma. So I feel like that argument's pointless because you haven't argued that, Alex.
You can't put Loma ahead of Canelo anymore. If there's anyone you can, it's Inoue because when was the last time Inoue lost a round, Matt? I can't even think of the time he lost a round.
My guy, but he's fighting guys that aren't the best guy in the division. Canelo moved up and fought Triple G twice. Moved up and fought Kovalev, who's at worst the top 3 or 4th guy in his division in a loaded division. I don't know, man. Canelo moving up 2 weight classes is a far bigger deal than what Inoue did moving up 2 weight classes. It is.
Agree, and that's why I have Canelo at 1 and Inoue at 2.
Inoue moved up 5 pounds. Canelo moved up 15
pounds.
And I would say a better fighter, too. Kovalev is better than Omar Navarez. Sorry.
Probably, yeah.
So, Alex, back to you, because Gary kind of took over here. Sorry about that. It's okay.
I think something I said before, a lot of what I based off is my perception of what I think they will do within their division. So, like Gary says with Inoue, I can't see anyone living with him. And like you said, a lot of fighters do take a lot of rounds off Canelo. And obviously with this latest fight, it's better. But before this fight, the past 3 or 4 of the Triple Gs, I thought he lost those. And he wasn't, obviously he's fighting better fighters, but then obviously he's not blowing them away like an Inoue was.
But yeah, that happens. When you're fighting pound for pound fighters, Canelo's fighting fellow pound for pound and Hall of Fame fighters. Inoue, let's be honest, he's fought 1 Hall of Fame fighter in his career. And that guy wasn't even a pound for pound fighter at the time when he fought him.
Jamie McDonnell.
No, not Jamie McDonnell.
I like Jamie McDonnell, but
that was a good one, Alex. That was funny. But
okay, that was a joke.
No, it was a joke. I think Inoue is clearly, again, we're splitting hairs here. Inoue is top 5 pound for pound, right? We're all in agreement there. We're not saying Inoue is trash. We're not saying that argument. But to compare individually Inoue and Canelo, I would say from a resume perspective, Canelo has a better resume. From a skill perspective, from a talent perspective, from a technique perspective, Canelo's better. And if those 2 things are in one guy's side, it's almost impossible for me to say the other guy is pound for pound better than that guy.
He also had the win over Koki Kono at 108. I don't know, where Kono was old, but he was still a good champion.
Stop, Gary. We're gonna go back to Alex.
Okay. I'm with Canelo, but I'm trying to make an argument because I think if you could put anyone besides Canelo at number 1, it could only be Inoue. He's the only other guy that has a legitimate claim there that you can make an argument for. But go ahead, Alex.
Oh, that's pretty much all I had on that.
Well,
after that grilling.
Alex, any other takes you have on any other thing you want to talk about?
No, I was out most of yesterday, so I've only actually caught up on the Canelo fight so far.
Go back and watch the Katie Taylor card for sure if you haven't watched that, especially the Jack Cullen and Felix Cash fight, and obviously
I did want to make another comment about the last time I talked about how I've just picked up DAZN and ESPN and I'm trying to get into the American broadcasts. And I'm having a big problem with DAZN. I think I'm just going to have to go back to watching British streams because I understand if DAZN's showing a UK broadcast, I would understand if they wanted an American broadcast team for the American viewer. But I don't understand why on a British card they have British commentators that aren't just the Sky team.
Because it's different companies, you know. You could piggyback off of their stream, but in essence, it's less prestigious, if that makes sense. So that's why they do it.
Yeah,
but I understand why that seems kind of pointless.
Well, it's the between fights as well. It just shows a wide shot of the ring and nothing.
Oh yeah,
nothing else.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's just that international feed, right?
That's the international feed because they don't have commercials, and Sky at that time is showing commercials. So that's how it is.
On the Canelo start time, though, this was perfect for me because I came in yesterday expecting to get it on catch up, and they were actually walking into the ring when I came in, so it was ideal.
Perfect. Anything else, Alex?
No, that's it from me.
You have a good day, man. Thank you for the debate. Always fun.
You too.
10-9 round for me, though. It's 10-9, though. It's okay. I mean, Gary's...
Only on aggression.
And I made very good points that he then agreed with.
I think, like, the right answer is Canelo, although I think you could argue Inoue.
No,
like,
you can't. You can't argue Inoue. I'm a huge Inoue fan. You can't argue Inoue. It's number one? No. Now, if we want to have an argument, is he number 2, number 3? That's what we kind of argument, because then we're debating Inoue versus like Lomachenko's resume and skill, Inoue versus Crawford's resume and skill. Like, those are fun conversations. But Canelo, man, it's so clear that he's number 1 right now. Stop it.
You can't. I had him at number 3 before. Like, I have him at number 1 now. Like, I had to move him up. It's hard to, after that knockout performance, it's hard not to put him number 1.
Well, guys,
does Crawford take the lead again if he gets the Spence fight and beats Spence?
Absolutely.
I don't know. Maybe he's got to beat somebody at 54. Like, look what Canelo just did.
I don't know, but that's a good question, Rob. And I'll leave it for the chat to decide in the comment section. So, guys, comment down below, whatever. If Crawford beats Spence, I'm going to say that's next. That's for argument's sake, right? Or at least 2020. Say it happens in 2020. Does that mean that Terrence Crawford is number 1 pound for pound over Canelo? I would probably say yes, slightly. But the second Gary said no, I was like, oh, maybe I should think about this. But anyways, digressing. You cannot think Inoue is pound for pound over Canelo. That's ridiculous, especially when you agree with me that Canelo is the better boxer. Moving on, though, you can find me, Mount Hunter, MCR, all platforms on social media. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Rob, let the people know where to find you.
Yeah, let's hurry this up because it's nearly 1 a.m. here and I'm scared of what happens if it crosses over and you're still awake.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, UK Rob, MCR, Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, everybody in the chat, thanks for being here. Good chat as always. Share the show again, like I said. Just this should be a big weekend. You know, we should get some good views and things like that. But you know, we're still grinding, trying to reach. Oh, I'm getting that fucking echo in my head again.
That's good. You're good.
All right. Yeah, just trying to reach more people. So do what you can. Share the show. Let people know we're here. And yeah, click that notifications bell. Gary.
Find me all forms of social media at 3D Boxing. And just appreciate what we're getting with Canelo. You get an old school fighter who will fight anyone, who doesn't care about the politics. He'll just fight the best guy out there. And he is the best fighter in the world. That being said, you can make an argument for Inoue. God bless y'all. Have a great week.
No, you can't make that argument. Stop, Gary. Peace. Have a great day. Peace. Stop.